Get ready for the ultimate rock experience. Just for show production and Asia Inc. at the Electrical Tattoo Co. in cooperation with the Tribe Production and Weird Alley Production proudly present Legends of Rock, White Lion, and Steel Heart live in Cebu this February 8th. Prepare to rock your heart out with legendary performances at the Social Park Avenue, Mango Square, Kamuto. Experience the magic of iconic hits like You're All I Need and She's Gone. Performed live, plus enjoy opening performances from Cebu's finest rock bands, Eon, XS, and Mission Souls. Hosted by Neil Plan, this is your chance to witness rock history and enjoy an unforgettable night of pure adrenaline. Secure your tickets now at ticketnation.ph. Don't miss out. This event is brought to you by Cartens Trading and Partners, Red King Pizza, Musicland, and your official Woodsnake and New Star Resort Cebu. Celebrate the Lunar New Year with an extraordinary feast of Chinese dishes at 132 Huangdi and Xinjiandi. Bring your family and friends and get in wonder at captivating traditional dance performances at the atrium and immerse yourself in art with a special Chinese culinary session at the mall. Let's look forward to a year filled with happiness and prosperity at New Star Resort Cebu. For more information, visit newstar.ph or call 032-888-8282.
Hey! What happened to you, man?
You were already here.
Huh?
I was waiting for you. That's
Oh,
all.
fuck. How's everything?
That's all good. All good.
How are you?
Yeah, we just. Oh, when you my friend Louis.
Steve Aoki?
Hey, that's my cousin. I'm actually the stunt double.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I'm playing.
Yeah. We were like, oh, we were waiting for your text. Like,
No, I was actually trying to call you.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, it's probably not gonna be that long though, so we just like try to figure out how to go
I
up.
tried to call you, man. Take a look. I called you earlier. I tried to call you on your.
Oh man.
Only you have a missed call.
Oh, so we were here already
Yeah,
in. Wait, what time? Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was here by 9:15, like that.
No, we were like,
Oh, yeah,
down-
because we were here like.
downstairs the whole time.
Oh, put your stuff here, man. Put your stuff.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And then we figured like, I don't think it's gonna take you that long to like. And then we figure out the.
How you doing, bro? How's everything, huh?
Now I'm like face paralyzed now.
What are you?
I mean face paralyzed. What? See, I can smile.
I know. What happened?
Guillain-Barré.
Huh?
Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's autoimmune disease started to attack my nerves,
Okay.
and it's a virus. It caused by a virus that looks like my nerves, and then my autoimmune started to attack my
Okay.
nerves.
All right.
Almost got paralyzed, but thank God.
Okay.
Wala. So
So what does that mean? But is that gonna go back?
yeah, so it's gonna be like a month or two.
Okay.
Just need some therapy.
Okay. Where do you get your therapy?
Chongwaman daw.
Okay. Because my son is a physical therapist.
Oh, yeah?
You guys sit there, man. Yeah, please. You grab whatever you want, man. You grab some pussy if you like. I'm just kidding. Just kidding, bro.
See what I'm talking about?
Oh, I didn't even hear.
Yeah, I already said good things about you, like.
I'm just kidding, bro. So I was gonna talk about you guys sit there. We're gonna be on YouTube and also on Facebook.
Okay.
Aside from the website and on there.
You don't mind if I do the live too?
Yeah, no problem. And you can also grab this, like for Facebook Live,
Oh, okay.
and then also this is for
Like that?
YouTube. Yeah, you can puli lang mo. So what's your full name again, sir?
So my real name is Louis.
Yeah, but your
As music.
your Hollywood name.
Yeah. Pizza Palace.
Pete.
Pizza Palace. Folks call me Pizza or
Pizza
Zonzo.
Palace.
Yep, Pizza Palace.
Wow. How does that work?
It's a lot of food going on. You know what I mean? So.
Pizza, you know what I'm saying?
So did you like patent that name?
Yeah, so like basically how it not patented yet. So actually, if someone wanted to swoop that name, it's wide open. Maybe I won't say that on air, but how it actually started was like I had been in the music industry for a long time before, and like I loved it, but then sometimes like some artists or some producers got so like this feeling of like self-importance.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like like I get it. You're supposed to believe in yourself, all that.
Yeah.
Pizza Palace is kind of a funny name.
Okay.
So it's kind of a reminder to myself to not take myself too seriously.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And just have fun at the same time, because that's the energy that I kind of want to encourage. Like when you come to like these events and things like that, hey, like, like we love ourselves, but like we could also just kind of like poke fun at ourselves, have fun. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a better vibe.
It's a
You know what I mean?
conversation starter too, right?
Right. What is that? Like,
It's like an artwork in your living room. What the hell is that, right?
Right. And like the other thing is like they'll be coming in like, wait, so like you guys sell pizza, and then they remember it. They're like, so it's been very it's been nice.
So why did you change your name to Pizza Palace?
When?
Yeah. Is that like a legal name? No.
No. I should though.
Okay.
That would actually. That's not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah,
Like
but-
meta world peace. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you call this? So I was gonna talk. I wanted to talk about, if you don't mind, Cooksbot. I wanted to talk about R&B, rap, and hip hop from a local and global perspective. Would that be a good topic?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Local and then
Global, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think? So you're in town, Pizza, for particularly for what reason?
So originally we came here to kind of create this event out
Okay,
here
okay.
called Flip the Script.
Yeah.
And it happened actually last week.
Okay.
And it's a two-part thing.
Okay.
We collect a lot of artists together and flip the script. Actually,
Okay.
the name of it means like like we all have narratives that exist out in the world.
Yeah.
Some are true, some are fake.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes like if people are from different areas, they're like Cebu, Cebu,
Yeah.
and even in the own city, they're like Cebu. Like it's like self-oppression. I'm like, man, like it's so beautiful over here. Like I've been to other places, and like Cebu is one of like the most special places, and the energy of the people. It's like very, and I've traveled a lot. You know, what I mean? It's so special. And to me, it's so surprising how people who live there their entire life, they put other places on a pedestal.
So,
And it's so beautiful.
I don't want to waste that because that sounds beautiful.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay, cool.
so let's save that for on the air. But what I wanted to talk about was like R&B, rap, and hip hop from a local
Okay.
and a global perspective. So both of you, obviously, Cookies lived in Atlanta for a while, and then that's how you got your chops for R&B and hip hop and rap and all of that stuff. And you, where are you based again, sir?
So I grew up in Atlanta. I'm currently based in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay. Oh, okay. You guys knew each other from Atlanta.
Yeah.
The Atlanta days.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I started blowing up, before I moved, not moved, like, well, Michael Dino and like the Bash 85 flew me here for
Yeah.
that event, late Gabelio.
Yeah.
Even before that, like we already like hanging out, which is Atlanta,
Mm.
and just chopping it out. Like he's one of like my like go to like people to ask questions about specifically the music industry because he already did his thing before me.
Mm.
So he already did the work with Ti, with Grand Hustler, and like Atlantic Records. Even before.
So you're like a music producer? Would Pizza be like a music producer?
Music.
Is that a
Yeah,
correct
yeah.
description of what you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But you also do like events, right?
Events. We also do music business, and just kind of.
But you're Filipino, bro. No?
I am the adopted stepson of the Philippines.
Hey.
What, do you have roots in the Philippines now? Are you Japanese or
Ethnically, I'm Korean.
Korean?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was always kind of like that Korean person who never fit in with the Korean.
Okay.
I was always different. I was
Okay.
always different.
So both of your parents are Koreans.
Yes.
Okay. You come to the Philippines often? No.
Yeah. Recently, it all started with Mike Swift. So like, I was doing a writers retreat, and we're just gathering a lot of talented people. And what we do is we do a tour, except it's not performances. Every city we go to, we work with local artists and work with create songs. And so during that tour, Mike Swift was like, "Hey man, like let's go to the Philippines together. We're about to go on this tour." And then so we put the tour together, and then that was the first time I went to the Philippines. And ever since then, it's just been every few months. And then that's the same time I started working with Nick Makino. We started releasing records together with Cookies, and then I had this whole wave that happened out there because I had taken a break from music because I was kind of tired of like the ego energy in music, and I wanted
Energy.
yeah, you know what I mean. So I got really tired of that, and so I was like, if I'm going to redo this again, I want to do this with the right energy,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
And then so that journey led me here with some like pretty amazing people.
Cebu.
Right through Cebu.
Ego. What do you mean by ego thing?
Like as we know, like music's kind of like a public facing
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
So what happens is like, you receive love of a lot of people and that sort of thing, but you can start tripping off of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you create a lot of sauce and you get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? So the thing is that like, I just didn't like how that changed the way people interact with each other. Because the original point of music is to bring people together. It's not like, look at me, I'm a celebrity. It's like, look at us and how we're coming together.
Yeah.
That's what like if we had a fire,
Yeah.
the singer is what brings a lot of people together to just sit around the campfire.
But
So-
that's also what people gravitate to. They like looking at ego. You know what I mean? They like people who are confident.
Right.
You know
so,
what I mean? So they love that, and
Right.
and I don't think you can get up in the morning without a little bit of ego too, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
in fact,
100%.
in fact, making music is ego because you feel like you're creating something and the world will listen to. Who do you think you are? You know what I mean?
Right.
From the get go, it's
Right.
it's all about ego. So there's a level of it, I guess, that you don't like, right? There's a level of it that you don't like.
So I think everything in balance.
Yeah.
Because you're right. You do need ego.
Yeah.
Right. Ego is so important because man, I grew up. Everyone's like, "You're crazy, man. Why are you doing music?" Like I got kicked out of my house when I was really young, and I lived on the street for like a long time.
Okay.
I needed ego.
Okay.
No one, you know. Like,
Let's stop right there because this is a lot of fun already.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right. So this is
Get
great.
kicked out of your house. That's a good topic.
Right.
So music
Yeah.
and ego.
Yeah. Oh, this is.
Is
great.
that okay if we so it won't be weird that we talk about your condition? No.
No, absolutely.
Would that be okay with you?
Yeah. Can I call for Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
If that was mine.
Ronnie, baby. Ron. This is my producer guy, Ron. He's the guy who makes some of our jingles and music.
Hey,
Ron,
how's
this
it
is
going?
Cookies. This is Pizza Palace. That's his name. Pizza Palace. Write his name. The password, bro. He needs the password to post shit.
Yeah.
And what is it? Where's Kuya Magic?
Kuya Magic is busy with his Playfair. He's part of the Playfair downstairs. There's like a time zone type of place downstairs.
Yeah. Okay. Did he get into an accident?
Yeah, motorcycle accident.
Okay. Wow.
It's
Sounds
so
like I'll
it's so crazy here, man. Because especially during the January, because it was raining, the roads are so slippery and stuff. So, bro, both microphones work, right? Both of their microphones work. Yeah. Cookies.
Thank you so much.
Maybe Pizza Palace.
Oh, you played that song. The most egoist.
I like observing ego. I like knowing that it's there and how people use it, and some just like anything in life, right? Some people get a little bit of something, right?
Yeah.
And some of them like. Because I don't think you can perform at a high level, man, if you don't have fucking ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what I
for
mean?
Sure. It's just unchecked.
Yeah.
Like I have.
Unchecked ego. Yeah.
I actually have a whole mantra about this of how to maintain the balance.
Okay,
actually. So
let's talk about that.
Talk about that.
Because let's talk about ego, man.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I like the philosophy of ego.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But primarily, so that we won't stray too far, we're gonna talk about
A life of a bite.
rap and hip hop
43. That's it. Again.
from a local and global perspective. Local and global.
A life of a bite, episode 43, title Ego Things in TMC. With
Ego things. Everything is ego, man.
and Pizza Palace. So,
Everything is ego.
Everything is ego.
Kaya huwag nabi ka na ego. Animal kang dako! You know what that means, right? Pizza, do you know what that means? Animal kang dako! You're an animal! Ah! He's raging, man.
Obligatory way though, like.
Gabihan eh.
Yeah. Oh, look, I like how you.
Oh yeah, you want.
But you know, like big, but part of
Yeah.
music is also performative, right? So you can like what I love what you said when you're on stage,
Right.
you know, you're the king of the world, right? And then you go back down there and then you're like just everybody else. So like you can summon your ego just so that for the performance to go to that different level. And when you go home, you're
Well,
the
actually, it was.
same schmuck, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But now it's totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can talk about that.
Well, this is a great topic.
Yeah, it is. It
The
is.
topic today is ego.
Ego.
What's up, little chill? What's up?
How did it come from hip hop and R&B to ego? This should be the Philosopher podcast.
Right?
Yeah.
Hold on, give me a second. It's gonna be. They can see you from this camera. They can see you from all of these cameras here. You want more height?
Ooh. Yeah, that works great.
Because it tends to be hot.
I wonder if there's a way to tighten this. If not, because it keeps swinging over, and I want to make sure it's a steady.
Okay, hold on, give me a second. Ronnie, need you.
You're like, oh, not again.
It's good stuff, boy. It's good.
Bro, okay, they wanna tighten this thing kuno kay bro. Go a little bit up. Ano ba? Like here kuno ba? From here, like he doesn't want. If it's possible, is that possible?
This will be, I don't think it's possible.
If not, I could just make sure to. I'll scoot over a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'll move towards the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that okay?
Yeah. This is great. For sure.
So I'm gonna turn it off now. One ba? Ron, let's sound check first.
Do you like the heat or maybe because you like it now, but like in 20
In
minutes?
20 minutes.
Yo. Mic check.
Yeah.
How about you?
Check.
Okay, we're live.
Oh,
All right.
Oh, yeah. We have too many microphones, right? How am I gonna do this?
Yes, sir.
We got choices.
Yeah.
We got choices.
Yeah, that's the paradox of choice. Maayong bungkag sa kanatong tanan. Good morning, top of the morning to everyone. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice, and today our topic for Mag-anisayta Sugbo is R&B, rap, and hip hop from a local and global perspective. And we could not have picked two people who can talk about this topic. We have Cookies all the way from Atlanta, now in Cebu. Mayong bungkag ni Widya Cookies.
May bungkag sa tanan. Good morning.
And of course, he brought with him his friend who's familiar with the R&B, rap, and hip hop scene globally, especially in the United States. We have Pizza Palace.
Yo, what's good? Hello. Do I talk to this one?
yeah, both, but like you
Yeah,
wanna.
yeah, you can talk to both. That's
All
that's all
Like
right.
this. Yeah.
So first of all, thank you so much for being here, guys.
Thank
Oh,
you
man,
for having
thank you
us.
for having us.
Thank you so much. We were planning this a few days ago with Cookies, and I always love to talk to Cookies, and he mentioned that he brought in a friend who did flip the script. I go, flip the what? And he promised me that he was going to bring you here, all the way here, from 2,000 feet closer to heaven at tops, and you're here.
Hey, it's an honor. Thank you so much.
First and foremost, I think Cookies here doesn't really need any introduction, right? Because everybody knows Cookies. But I think Pizza Palace, you're relatively new in town, right? At least
Yeah.
as far as Cebu goes, although you've been to Cebu on occasions, right? But tell us about who is Pizza Palace? Because we have a Queen's Pizza downstairs. Are you related to Queen's Pizza? No.
Hey, I'm right next to Queens in New York. You know what I mean? So from Queens to Queens, you get what
Oh,
I'm
so
saying?
you're,
It's amazing.
you must
know?
be related.
Yeah.
So that's
know.
actually your like your screen name. Tell everybody about Pizza Palace. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a music producer, originally from Atlanta, now based in Brooklyn, New York, and Cebu. And just been creating a lot of music. I came up a lot with Atlantic Records, Universal Motown, and kind of had a whole wave of just all these tracks. And then took a break from music. Recently came back in and creating more music. So it's that journey's led to Cebu and meeting some amazing people, and we're just kind of like moving forward. So that's pretty much Pizza Palace in like so far in this chapter.
So you're based in Brooklyn, New York, right?
Brooklyn, New York.
And you mentioned you're a music producer, and you were here in town a few weeks ago. Was that a couple of weeks ago, Cookies?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
For Flip the Script.
Yeah, flip the script.
Tell me about what Flip the Script is.
Yeah, flip the script. It's basically two different things. So number one, as we know, there's always narratives that kind of exist out in the world, either about us as people or things of that nature. And a lot of it's, sometimes it's not true. So what we want to do is just kind of set the context of, hey, now we actually belong here and that sort of thing. So we're flipping the script. So that's the first part. We're flipping the narrative if they try to just kind of say certain false things about us, right?
Okay.
Like if you want to see
When
the
you say
narrative
us,
come
what
to
do you mean by us?
community, like
Okay.
any community that,
Okay.
that we're a part of, right?
Okay.
So
So which community are you trying to flip the script at?
yeah, so flip the script is going to be centered around Cebu.
Okay,
right?
okay.
Because one thing is like, I'm relatively new out here in Cebu, and one thing that really stuck out was there's so much love here in the city, right? And what's interesting is like sometimes people from other areas, they'll try to say, create certain narratives around the South and Cebu and that sort of thing. And it's like, man, but the city's so beautiful. There's so much going for that, you know? So we want to flip the script and let folks know what Cebu is really about, right? So that's what I mean by flipping the narrative, you know? And it's going to start here in Cebu, but then over time we want to start expanding it to different areas in Southeast Asia, in the States, but let folks know it's centered in Cebu. If you really want to go to the real flip the script, it's in Cebu.
The real flip the script. But did you come up with this idea because of Cebu, or was this an idea that's been floating around for a long time in your head?
It because of Cebu, and it's been floating in my head for a long period of time.
Okay.
Because the story of Cebu reminds me so much of me growing up in Atlanta.
Okay.
When I grew up in Atlanta, what the world said was like, there's not much going on in Atlanta, this and that. Fast forward a few years, we just believed in ourselves, and like now, especially in the hip hop community, Atlanta is one of the meccas, right? But that just
Isn't Kendrick Lamar from Atlanta?
Kendrick Lamar's from the West Coast.
Oh, West Coast. Sorry,
Compton,
sorry,
Compton.
sorry, man.
No,
Sorry,
it's all
man.
good, you know.
Yeah.
No, because everyone's always learning different areas and that sort of thing, for sure. Yeah, and so
So aside from cookies, who's your biggest product from your neck of the woods, from Atlanta?
I would say I got an opportunity to collaborate with T.I.
Oh,
I got
T.I., okay.
Opportunity to collaborate with Future. A lot of different people. Like the list goes on and on. I'm gonna like if I start naming folks, people are gonna be mad that I didn't name them.
Okay.
But yeah. But those are just like a few. Like we had like this really cool run with DJ Greg Street out there, and yeah, shout out to Universal, man. JYP
Okay.
in Korea. So yeah, there's a lot of projects out there.
So when did you know about the Cebuano narrative that you wanted to flip it? Like when did you hear about it?
From Cookies.
Really?
From
Okay.
Cookies, for sure.
So telling me about that interaction, Cookies. What did you have to tell Pizza Palace here? Yeah, that's his name, folks. Pizza Palace. So can I call you Pizza? Is it okay?
Yeah, for
okay.
sure.
Or Pete's.
Pizza, Za, whatever.
Okay. So
whatever.
what was the conversation like when you first told Pizza here the narrative of Cebu?
We were on our way to Argao.
Okay.
So we were in the van on our way there, and I was just talking about like, man. At first I wanted to. I brought up the idea. It's like, you know what? I like to flip the script because like people, mostly like the non-Bisaya speaking people
Okay.
up north,
Okay.
they use the word bay na bay as a
bay.
derogatory term ba.
Uh,
Like say for example, like yo, your clothes look so whack, like you're so baduy, but they use it. You're so bay na bay.
mm.
Like now they use the term bay na bay as like a bad term ba.
Okay. I didn't know about that. Really? So-
Yeah, especially like I think it's a Gen Z thing now,
Okay,
but
okay.
like like mostly, especially in hip hop.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if they think you're whack, they say like ang bay na bay mo. Like
Kano sa lang ni ba? Like
dude, it's like we
dugay-
don't know
du-
it
du-
because we
dugay na
live
ni siya.
here.
Dugay na ni siya.
Dugay na.
Okay.
But when I went there, going back like in Manila, and then I've seen like artists like telling like, yo, if bay na bay mo, parang it's like it's not cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now it really lit a fire in my heart. No, you
In
know
your
what?
belly.
Nah, you know what? I'm gonna come up with a festival.
Okay.
I'm gonna call it Bay na Bay Festival,
okay.
right? And then we're gonna invite like a lot of like cool artists and whatnot, and we're just gonna do a festival here in Cebu, like, and yeah, and after that I forgot about it. You know, because I was just talking to Lewis at the time, so Van. Like I was just like sharing my thoughts about like, yo, it's really not cool that they really think as Bisayas Baduy, like,
Right.
you until now, you know.
Right.
So and like I also I think it was last year January I posted something on Facebook that went viral. Like I was like, yo, if you say "buy na buy" in front of our face, you're gonna get it. Yeah, you're gonna regret it. And then like people here in Bisaya too also thought it like, oh, you're so overreacting. Like why is like they don't know the context of it. Like they thought like just the word why. They thought that hey, don't use the word why. But like if you really look deep into like what I'm trying to say, it's the exact phrase "bay na bay." That's like using it in a derogatory term dito sa Manila.
Right.
So yeah, so
So that was the sort of narrative that you told Pizza here about what is going on in terms of the music industry in Cebu. Is that what it is?
no, not in Cebu. Like I was just talking about like my thoughts about like man, it's whack.
Okay, but what was
man.
the narrative that compelled Pizza to come down here and flip the script? What was the
Well, after that I forgot about it because
Yeah.
I said that like what last 2 years ago.
Okay.
And then we went our separate ways. Like we did our thing, and then I think it was like 3 months ago, October, when you guys started organizing it was flip the script.
Yeah.
So it's like not only here in like in the Philippines, it's like a local, like not I would say national, but it's a like we're trying to flip the script about that, and then but not only that, in different communities in America, where like the Asian, especially the Asian community, they think of like in the like in the music scene, like hey, if you're Asian, you're not really sellable like that. Like your face doesn't really sell like that,
Right.
unless if you do K-pop, like you know what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
so like one way also is that it's like we're trying to flip the script of flipping the script of the narratives of like different communities.
Right.
So that's it.
Right.
So what was it about that narrative that how do you feel about that narrative? Is that unique to the Philippines? Is this like common all over the world?
Yeah, like we don't like bullies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I think that's what it comes down to. It's like and this is probably like a good segue into like the idea of ego and stuff like that, right? It's like, man, believe in yourself and that sort of thing. Like have a love for yourself, but don't love yourself so much that you feel like you're just stepping on people. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, so I think that's kind of like a thing that we want to shift, right? Like it's so easy to kind of create this false narrative around people. And what happens, unfortunately, is that sometimes people in the own community start believing that, and that creates like a mental block in their heads, you know? So we want to center this in Cebu, and as we kind of push it into different areas, kind of share that, hey, we're all going through the same experience together, and we're stronger together, you know? So actually, if you look at, this was the first flip the script ever. If you look at the ticket, if for anyone who purchased one of the tickets, you'll notice on one of the parts it says "Stronger Together," and that's actually part of the message. It's kind of like they're gonna try to separate and divide us by making us not like ourselves or things like that. I've seen this so much, and even in the U.S., there's like a lot of subliminal racism that happens. You know, they divide and conquer. That's a very colonial tactic. You know what I mean? But what we're trying to do is like, man, we see what you guys are doing. We're flipping the script and we're staying together. So that's the idea.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
I agree with you that the music industry, especially here in Cebu and perhaps in other parts of the world as well, I'm not familiar, but in Cebu, you can really tell that we're a very tribal community, right? Like we clump ourselves into tribes, into clusters, right? There's that X camp, the Y camp, you know what I mean?
Right.
And even though the music industry here in Cebu is relatively small compared to, let's say, Manila or even the United States especially, we're a pretty small group of artists here, but yet still we decide to clump into different bubbles, right? So I think because we have been talking about this for a long time, right? This whole tribal thing and why we're so tribal. Aside from it's really part of our nature to for survival, right? That's really like a sort of like inherited from our ancestors about how we want to protect ourselves by protecting our tribe. But I think a bigger force is working here. I think for me, I think one of the biggest forces that's working here is competition. It's really about competition. It's about because there's only a finite amount of resources that you can get, right? And so we're a very small place, very small town. So we're trying to compete for a small piece of the pie, right? So because of the competition, we need to be in clusters. We need to be in groups. We need to be in groups. We need to be in clusters, so we can get a higher chance of getting a piece of the pie. It's not really about this, and it's not about that. It's really primarily about competition. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I have a lot of thoughts on
Yeah.
this for sure. And this is why Cebu reminds me so much of Atlanta growing up, because it's the same dynamic in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I feel like there's kind of two ways what I notice when people move around, how they picture the world. Like, hey, there's a limited amount of resources,
Yeah.
which is true. There's always going to be a limited amount of resources. With that being said, I think if people really tap into themselves and realize that we all have skill sets if we train ourselves and we learn certain habits in our life, we have an unlimited amount of resources because of what we could generate through our actions and how we move and what we decide to do. And so I think that we could look at it like I'm a nerd out a little bit. Like there's like this idea of like a zero-sum game, finite resources, all that stuff. And that's one game we can play. But the other game is I understand my strength, I understand my power, that if I put my mind towards something, I could actually create something. I could create a new business that might bring more value to the community. I could create new ideas, new skill sets, educate myself. Then all of a sudden, I'm pulling from so many different places to bring it back to Cebu. And that's kind of what happened in Atlanta. Like in the beginning, it was a little bit competitive and that sort of thing, but it was friendly competition to encourage each other to keep growing. And we got so good at that the whole U.S. had to respect Atlanta. You know?
Like, I noticed in Atlanta, like they really, like they also have their own clusters. They also have their own tribe bubbles and whatnot. You know how like 21 Savage,
Yeah, yeah.
Migos, Young Thug,
North
Gucci,
side, south side, east side,
and they got
west
their
side.
own thing going on, but at the same time, they respect all each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's a lot
they
of
also
love.
they also like respect through collaborations, because in their minds they're like business people. They used to be
Yeah.
illegal business and now they're doing like legal business. But at the same time, if you guys
Allegedly.
allegedly,
Everything
right?
Allegedly.
but if you guys work together, you know what I'm saying? That means you
Right.
get more business. Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And then they had like that mentality
Right.
in Atlanta.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Free
yeah.
trade is good, man. Like
Free
I
trade,
think,
yeah.
Yes, it's
Economy.
This is kind of like interesting, right? Because they even have like books about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I might have a lot of apples. The homie over there might have a lot of oranges. I'm speaking in code. You get what I'm saying? For
yeah.
those who know, they know.
Yeah,
So
okay,
I
okay.
might have apples. They might have oranges, right? But the thing is that I might want some oranges. I might want some apples. But if I can trust that, if I can trade with them, I could focus all my skill sets on making apples while they can put all their skill sets into making oranges. We can actually serve more apples, more oranges to the community, and both sides make more money. But what that requires is trust, knowing that I'm honorable, knowing that if I do a trade, I'm going to do a fair trade. I'm not trying to get one over the other person, but we're actually doing it honorably. So one thing that we did in Atlanta, and I'll kind of tell a personal story. North side Atlanta and south side Atlanta used to never get along. It was always kind of two different sides. It actually got really bad, very violent, all this stuff. And what we tried to do in our slang was we started incorporating the word honorable. Hey, that's the honorable homie, like this, the honorable. Because in my head, through the words are very powerful.
Yeah,
so we're trying
absolutely,
to
yeah.
encourage that action with people. And like, it took a little bit of time, but we put that in our music and this and that. And we kind of shifted the culture where there was a little bit more trust. Man, y'all are stressed down. Here we're stressed up. Here we should just come together and figure it out, And then now instead of just fighting, we're actually figuring out ways to build each other up. But it really starts with respect and trust. That's like the first step. So competition is great, again, but with that being said, let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. We're competing to encourage each other to collectively be stronger.
So that's the big picture.
I mean, there's always a
Yeah,
bigger
yeah,
picture,
yeah.
right? But that's one of the
So the big picture
pictures.
is for us to work together.
Yeah, and that's not easy, right? Because it takes a lot of things. Like I have a collective that we've been putting together, and I'm really big on mantras. Like certain words are going to encourage certain things, and we have this mantra that we say over and over: individually great, collectively legendary. You know what I mean? And so it's like, let's not like, we will always strive for individual greatness. We're always going to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Well,
and push
that's
ourselves.
actually a very Western construct, right? The self, right?
Right.
Because if you go to the East, it's another thing, right?
Right,
So that's
right.
a very American Western construct of taking care of the self, you know, like the self-help books, you know,
Right, right.
and all of that stuff. And
Right.
and the East is a little bit more detached to the self, right? In many ways, right?
Right.
Like Zen and minimalism and all of that stuff. In fact, slowly, I think a lot of the Eastern thought, Eastern philosophies have seeped into Western culture a little bit. In fact, there's a healthy mix now of
Yeah.
of self help and forgetting about the self. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
being less attached to the idea of the self. So I guess where I'm going at is there must be like a healthy mix of being selfish, right? And like we talked about earlier off cam about taking care of your ego and letting your ego take you to as far as you can, as it will take you. But there must be a level of ego that's also destructive, right? Not just to yourself, but maybe to the people around you. So, if something is working for you, if something is so successful for you, if you have been so blessed with you know, all of the fame and fortune because of your ego, right? And then how will you teach that person to stop when in fact that's his whole successful formula? If you tell him, you know, you're gonna tone it down with the ego, you're actually telling him, tone it down with the success, man. You know, you don't need all of that. You don't need you know, to dominate. You know,
Right.
just you know, lay low for a little bit. It
Right.
kind of reminds me of because I have friends in Denmark, right? And people in Denmark actually the disparity, the gap between individuals there, especially income inequality, it doesn't exist there because they're relatively more equal because that's a socialist democratic society, right?
Right,
So they even say, hey, what's wrong with you? Why do you have too many cars? What's wrong with you? Why do you have a big house, right? So but that's another way of perceiving and looking at the world. So so back to my question, like how do you tell that person when it's been working so successfully for him to stop?
Oh, okay. So I have two stories.
Yeah.
One's a short story, one's
Okay.
a little longer, but I'll keep it short.
Okay,
you know?
please. We have all day. Don't worry.
Okay. We'll be here till tomorrow. He's like, man, I shouldn't have never said that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But there's a phrase that oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, there's a phrase that I like to say, and we say it all the time.
Okay.
This is what I also center myself on to check myself. It's okay to love the clout. You know what I mean? The clout's gonna come. Hey, receive the blessings of the hard work you've put in. At the same time, we should always love the craft more than the clout. What kind of created all this is because, man, we just love creating like joy in people and the art of that through music, through visuals. Like we just love to see, at least for me, I love to see people smile. I love the creative process because that, I could genuinely say that saved my life. You know what I mean? Like, and so I have such a love for that. But then as you kind of start creating stuff and then all of a sudden people are like, man, you're so awesome, or wow, you did this, and you start getting some accolades and stuff. I might start liking the accolades more than the craft. And what you're gonna see, just give me enough time and my career is gonna go downhill because folks are gonna feel that energy. You know what I mean? So that's the first part. Love the craft more than the clout. That's a phrase that I center myself on and we try to encourage in our circles, number one. Number two is kind of an experience that I had when I went to this museum. So I'm with the homies, right? We're all hanging out. And they have this section in the museum where it's all ancient weapons. So I'm like looking around at
Which museum was this?
well, it was the
Smithsonian? Where
I
was
think it
this?
was the Nat. I think it was the
Natural Museum?
Yeah, in Man, I'm gonna get killed for
Yeah.
like saying the wrong museum, but it's one of the museums.
But
in
it
New
was
York.
it was the museum with ancient artifacts.
Ancient artifacts
Weapons,
and
right?
specifically weapons.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like with the homies, and we're just talking crazy, like just how you hang out with the homies, you talk crazy. Man, if I had this sword, man, I would get you, man. Like, look how big this is. He's like, man, nah, I got this thing, man. I got this axe. Like, you better be careful, right? Like that kind of energy, right? So we're all just talking. So we're talking back and forth, all this stuff, just having fun. So I'm looking for the next thing because I'm like, man, what am I gonna say next? And I look in the corner and I see a fan. And I'm like,
Like a fan.
like a fan,
okay.
like if you're hot,
Pai
you
pai,
wave.
pai pai. We call that
we
pai
call it
pai.
pai pai.
In Cebu, pai pai.
Pai
Okay.
pai.
Pai pai.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna add that to my lingo. Thank you. Yeah. So I'm like, man, what is that? So I read the little card next to it,
Okay.
and it goes, with one wave of the fan, 10,000 soldiers would move. And I was like,
What?
man, I want that fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want that fan. Like, so I'm just like talking like, man, I got you, And then later when I started going home, I started thinking about it some more. That fan itself, if I hit someone with it, like the guy with the sword's gonna win, right? They're gonna win all the way. But then what I realized was what that fan represents and the work and energy for that fan to mean something. It took a lot of trust, conversations to gather people because, MMA and like these fighters and stuff, there's amazing fighters. I can individually be an amazing fighter, but you put that against 10,000 people, I mean, like, I'm putting my bet on the 10,000. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what I mean to circle back to that other phrase, individually great, collectively legendary. And I love what you said about the Eastern and Western, because I think that's what the West needs, a little bit more Eastern culture. And I also think that the East could have a little bit more Western culture too, and that balance, that yin and yang of like both together, I think is very powerful. So hopefully that kind of explains kind of like the
Rap, hip hop, R&B. Actually, if you think about it, more so in rap, hip hop, and R&B, but maybe it's also present in other genres, other forms of art, right? But rap, especially, comes from a passionate, burning desire to express yourself, right? In fact, I've always maintained that music is an act of rebellion, right? Music is against something. It's either you're against something or you're for something, but it comes from a really, really strong emotion.
Right.
Because you can't be moved. Most people can't be moved to making music if it's not coming from a force, right?
Right,
It's
right.
a force. Usually, it's a strong force. It's not somewhere lukewarm.
Right.
It can be. It can be either really bad or really good. That's the kind of music message that resonates, right? To most of the world. If you look at all of the hits of the past, I don't know, 50 years,
Right.
it's really about a strong emotion of love, a strong emotion of hate, a feeling for country, a feeling for religion, a feeling. It's always about a strong feeling or against something, right?
Yeah.
So if you tame the beast, right?
Oh, I love where you're going.
What's going to happen to that art form, right? What's going to come out of that person if you're just going to tell me, just chill, man,
Yeah.
everything's all right. It's not that bad. But hey, a moment ago, I was just enraged. I was angry about something. I was ready to write about something
Right.
great, and all of a sudden you tell me that everything's chill. Didn't you just kill a Mona Lisa right there?
Okay. I love what you said
Yeah.
because this is such a, I think,
How he
important
set it
nuance.
up, yeah.
Yeah.
it's so cool,
By the
man.
way, I just want to say you're so good at transitions. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I just want to shout you out like real quick. Like you take it from one topic to other. Like I really want to shout that out.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Of course,
Okay.
of course. Yeah. So to touch on your point, I think context is important. I think it's so easy to say one thing is good or bad or whatever, but we have to think about the context, right? So I'll give a personal example of what I've seen in myself and in my neighborhood, right?
In Atlanta
Yeah, in Atlanta.
or in New York.
And in New York.
Okay,
actually,
both, okay.
So when I'm first coming up, especially in music, like no one really believed in. Like I had to really fight for it. And like if you're around sometimes maybe negative influences here and there, I'm not gonna listen to what's around me because I know that in my head I have this vision and stuff like that. Guess what? My ego is pretty up because I can't listen to anything. I'm in basically survival mode to just kind of get to the next phase in life, right? And what I realized is that got me from point A to point B. Now, the thing is that once I achieved a certain level of blessings, and I was just very blessed to be able to experience certain things, what I realized was that same trait that allowed me to get from point A to point B was keeping me from getting from point B to point C. Because now it's more about collaboration and that sort of thing. And so what I kind of encourage people is that, man, always hold on to that thing of where you have to switch it on. Even though, like, I might be in this situation, I might have to go back to another situation where I have to turn that point A to point B mindset on. Always have that, you know what I mean? But also be able to read the room and realize, oh, I could be in this other mindset too where I can collaborate. Like, context is very important, you know what I mean? So that's also what I say with, like when we're creating music, you know, we're gonna have the chill music, and we're gonna have like the hardcore rage music. We're gonna have the whole range of human emotions, because that's what it means to be human. If we're just painting one thing, we're not painting an honest picture of what it feels like to experience life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
My perfect example for this is Alanis Morissette, right? Jagged Little Pill. She was this just angry little bitch, right? And she sold like a bazillion records, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And then she got successful. She got rich. She got a lot of money, and then her music started to not be angry. She was a little bit thankful. She was a little bit chill. And then her success slowly died down, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it depends on what your objective is, right? If your objective is success, then go and be angry. In fact, I was theorizing. I was talking to my friends about this. You know, a manager should engineer adversity for the artist. Once they gain an amount of success, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie The Game. Michael Douglas. Anyway,
Okay.
The story of the movie is that it was his birthday, and one of the characters of the movie wanted to gift his brother something, so he was asking himself, what do I give a person who has everything, right?
Right.
What do I give a person who has everything?
Right.
And somebody suggested to him, give him nothing. And he went a step deeper. What do you mean? He gave him the gift of feeling what it is to have nothing. So what he hired a group, he hired an agency to engineer, making him feel that he has lost everything. So
Right.
basta, it was like a very elaborate scheme to trick him that his business crumbled, his house burned down, everybody died or something like that. But at the end of the movie, they just saw each other and he embraced him, and then said, "That's my gift, man. What do you give a guy who has everything?
Right.
You make him feel nothing."
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know
So,
what I'm saying? Yeah.
so I guess what I'm trying to say is that if we achieve a certain amount of success, and we are happy and content with that success, if your objective is to continue to be just as successful as you once were when you were angry, like Alanis Morissette once was, because obviously, you know, the anger of adolescence, right? You know, like you the break up and all of that stuff. You know, maybe like a girlfriend, a boyfriend cheating on you, whatever. You know, like the usual issues of adolescence, right? If you don't have that anymore, then your craft becomes it goes on a different direction, and you won't have that level of success that you want, because it's already left you. That phase in your life has already left you, right? Right. So I guess my question is, how do you make art great art? There are lots of great art that comes from a good place too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been speaking. I definitely have thoughts on this, but I'll be mindful if you have anything you want to speak on this. you know?
Yeah.
Oh, for that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like my album right now, it kind of like, I don't want to say resonate, but when you said Alison Morissette, when she started to make like chill music, and then
She was getting more thankful.
yeah, she's getting more thankful.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like my album right now is kind of like that.
Okay.
Like, but I would say it's not as angry as it was like when I used to make
This
those
dako!
Yeah.
This dako!
Yeah, I will, yeah.
Di palupig!
Yeah.
You know, these are his songs, man.
Right,
You know,
right.
I can actually sing his songs with my heart, you know, because it's so angry. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
And now like my songs is more about like that certain angry dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we call it Bye because my album is called A Life of a Bye.
Okay. Okay.
So like the first song, Shabs and Liquor, he starts to not mess with those substances.
Okay.
So second song is Positive. Now he's positive in life. So since he's positive, he rides 17B. He goes to IT Park. He's like he starts to go to a real job, and that's why fourth song Agad, a lot of people relying on him now, like his family, his little brother, or maybe the electricity bill. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Agad rely. That's why on the fifth song, that's when like the climax is in. Like he wanted to start doing drugs again. And then the sixth song, he fell in love, started to give advice to the to a girl who had the same, like they were both depressed, right? But like now he started to give advice, and then it kind of gives his spirits up, right? And then the seventh song, Balud, he reminded that he got reminded that he got friends who's gonna ride the wave with you no matter what. Eighth song is Lifestyle, is basically advice to himself, like just keep it real, and it is what it is. Just keep it real, just move on, like keep on pushing, but it is what it is. And then the ninth song is like AI Automatic. You got friends,
AI automatic.
yeah. So
Oh, it's all about AI.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, it's like we got friends who's like AI, who's like look you in the eye, and then they already know what to do. Yo, let's go to Taos and like grab something to eat. Like, like you don't even have to talk to them. You just look at it in the eye, and then I need an alley oop, and then boom, drunk, like that type, energy.
That's tough.
And then the last song is patience. You gotta have patience. So, yeah, when you guys talking about like you gotta have to have that certain angry energy and whatnot, I'm in that phase right now. Like I can only use that energy if need be, but now like I got these songs that needs to be shared to the people who probably will change people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm on that energy, like specifically people who does drugs, and because I'm in that industry where like I know a lot of people who used to be
Okay.
drug addicts, specifically shabu, but as soon as they stopped doing that, their career skyrocketed. Like I've seen them like doing really good things and like business flourishing and whatnot. And they got stories here and there too when they used to do all that.
Right.
And in my side, I don't drink anymore. I'm going on third year this 2000.
Third year. Okay.
Third year.
Ah, third year. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going on third year.
I could vouch for that because we've definitely been trying to tempt our boy right here.
Yeah, so I'm going on third year this year of being sober.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's why I'm like when I stopped drinking, like I've been very aware of what I say, because before, like when I was drinking, get drunk, like I got a couple of people, friends I don't even know, but he could have probably do good business with me, but I just said, yo, your shit whack right now, like. Yeah, your nose is this, like yeah, you're like, you know what I'm saying? But just because I was drunk, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm like, man, like it will really affect my source of living too. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop doing that. And then it got that domino effect. I stopped drinking, waking up early, started walking, started exercising, started eating right. So it's like, and now I'm like, yeah. So yeah.
That's so fly.
Yeah, before you can add to that, Pizza Palace. It's funny because a few months ago, Cookies and I had a conversation. we were downstairs, and on our way up, I was telling him, "Hey, what's going on with you, man? You're so chill now." Like, remember that conversation?
Yeah, you got so concerned. And
Yeah, like that's, I was thinking to my head, what's wrong, man? You have no more problems? You know what I mean? I was analyzing what's going on with Cookie because Cookie used to be like this bundle of energy, right? Anger and all of that stuff, and he was so chill, and I was wondering like, what's going on, man? Like, is everything okay? Like, and then it got me thinking, like, because sometimes we throw the baby with the bathwater, right? There are bad parts of us that we need to remove, right? Let's just say the bad habits, for example.
Right.
But how do we know that we're not also throwing the baby? You know what I mean? Like, we're not throwing everything that is us because we're sober, for example, and we don't have those bad habits anymore. We can remove the bad habits, but hopefully still keep the baby, still keep the thing that makes me who I am, that makes me that gave me all the success in the first place, right? Right. So, but how do you do that? Because it's difficult. Maybe part of your success was because of all of the quote unquote bad things too, right? Because that's part of humanity. That's what people can relate to. Humanity, right? People can relate to flaws, right? In fact, in the United States, we have a very flawed leader. Most of our leaders are quite flawed, right? We look up to people with flaws because, hey, he's just like me. He's also a moron, he's also an idiot, right? You know what I mean? So that's actually like a kind of populism, right? But that's a separate topic because that's politics. But what I'm saying is people like it when their artists are flawed. They like it when their artists talk about stuff that they can relate to. So my question here, I guess, if there's a question that needs to be formulated, how do you know when you're throwing the bathwater that you're also not throwing the baby? Meaning to say, like, how do you know if you're throwing the bad parts of you that you're not also including the good parts?
Right.
In the process.
I get what you're saying. Like, it's the bad part gave you the good part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like,
yeah, because that's life, right? It's an interaction of a lot of things. It's about contrast too, right?
Could I?
Yeah, go ahead, Pizza.
It's like it's a too deep of a question to answer for me because I'm like not that smart.
No.
Go ahead.
He's being hella humble because
I know.
he's real savvy and smart. What I would say is that by the way, this is just my personal theory. I'm not saying this is the truth, but
Okay.
In my career, this is what I've seen has worked, and
Okay.
also just maybe my personal beliefs is that I believe what resonates with people is honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
right?
that's also one of those. Honesty, for
Right?
sure.
And so, like, if I'm not struggling against the same thing in the past, but I'm so attached to what came from telling that story, eventually I believe that I will become a caricature of myself because now I'm just emulating the actions of where I was a few years ago versus moving forward. I believe that what makes certain moments so powerful is that I'm literally locking into what challenges I'm going through right now, So it's and I think people are going to respect the honesty of that because, like, there's going to be a lot of people that resonated with this time period in my life. And that's always going to be family forever, With that being said, I also want to let folks know, hey, this is where I'm at right now too. And we still have the shared experience of this. And then also we're going to also open us up to also different groups of people who can relate to this part of our life too. So I think that part's very special. That's kind of where I'm at.
I think you can't really untap it. Like, you can't really separate that because it's always gonna be there.
Which one? The good and the bad?
Yeah, the good and the bad.
Okay.
It's just the awareness and discipline to, like, not do bad things in the right room. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't want to have like an outburst of anger right now. Let's say, for example, I drop my phone and then it breaks. And I'd be like, like, be angry in front of you. Then that would be like a bad, but since now we're more aware of like how to control those things, you know what I'm saying? Now you're trying to suppress that, and now you're trying to be more relatable. You know what I'm saying? but let's say there's always a outlet to let that bad, let not bad habit like that. I'll say dark energy
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
There's an outlet.
That,
to
that's
let,
better. Dark energy.
Yeah, you let that dark energy out. Let's say, for example, you're driving, and someone like just gave you the road rage,
Mm.
and then, since we're artists, you be like, yeah, I'm gonna make a song. Yeah, and then after that, you just make fun of it. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Instead of like,
Very few people can get away with experimenting on their craft, right? One of the greatest artists that I know that people still followed him around, at least his fans, was Prince, because Prince would just experiment on all sorts of shit, right? And people would still follow him and watch him and view him, and he was that kind of generational artist. But most people, they only have this like one crack at this thing, right? You know what I mean? And then after that, you're gone, right? Especially if you don't do the same thing that made you successful in the first place. That's one of the reasons why it's important for most artists not to start successfully. If your debut album is successful, it's all downhill from there, right? Right?
Sometimes you just stumbled into the success.
Yeah. So it's usually better if an artist is more durable, has more endurance and longevity. If he slowly climbs up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because you only have one crack at this, you became like this huge star because of this one thing about you. Let's just say your anger, for example, and you start getting mellow, then you might have to try to thread the needle again.
Yeah.
You might have to try to recreate that once in a lifetime success that you found accidentally by being just yourself.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
though, 'cause Now,
So
now
you-
you're like on a clean slate.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're back to square one,
Yeah.
but you're more experienced.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And then,
yeah.
and now.
But there's a possibility that window may be closed because you're starting from scratch, because it's so rare to succeed in especially in the music industry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you see millions of artists. If you just watch YouTube, there's so many great artists, right? And very few in Cebu. We have so many great artists, but success has eluded them because it's like it's like stars aligning. It's like planets aligning for you to get that level of success, right?
Can
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
touch
go
on
ahead.
this a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
I think that dynamic of what you just shared is also what can make the music and entertainment industry so stressful.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of mental health and all these different issues
Yeah.
that like a lot. I think on the outside they don't see that entertainers are going through.
Yeah.
Like a lot. I'm not gonna name any names.
No, but look at the person that I mentioned earlier, Prince, Michael Jackson. They all died from drug related, right?
expectations and all that stuff, and so having some time to I've been really blessed to be in the industry for like a good minute, and so I've had some time to reflect on this, and kind of the conclusion I've gotten to after just kind of reflecting a little bit was that this is for me personally. I can't speak for other people,
Yeah.
but this is what's made it sustainable for me. For me, I'm going to center my success around the process. The whole reason why I did music in the first place was because I enjoyed the process and it was just fun to make music.
Yeah.
So for me to already be able to just make music, work on my craft, that's success. And if anything comes out of that, that's even more blessings.
Yeah.
And you get what I'm saying? And so that's what I really center myself on. It's kind of like those folks, like if I play sports and I'm so focused on my touchdown, it can be very stressful. But if I just focus on, hey, what's the technique I got to do?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta kind of
process,
get
yeah,
my
yeah.
feet right, my balance. Oh, I got to keep my head up and stay on my toes. Then all of a sudden I got a touchdown, So I really believe that the success, this is the mantra I have, and this is actually comes from a painter. I'm not gonna steal someone's quote.
Okay.
But
who's the painter? Is it Picasso?
man, see, I wish,
Van Gogh? What?
See, this is where I fall short because I'm not remembering the person's name.
Okay,
But,
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm
But
sure.
shout out to that painter. Like
Okay.
I gained a lot of knowledge from this painter. I always like to study other artists and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And what this person said was that success, by the way, I'm butchering the quote. He says
Okay.
it way more eloquently.
Okay.
He goes, success is not creating art. Success is putting yourself in a place where you're able to have a creative mindset. So making great art is inevitable. So it's
Yeah.
like a very mental thing, right? It's
Yeah.
kind of like I know when I'm emotionally disconnected from myself.
Yeah.
I know when there's a disconnect between what I'm feeling and what I'm able to express. So part of the art form is me being able to align myself internally and then find that alignment and find alignment externally to communicate that. So I really believe that art at the highest form is just about alignment. So if I'm angry and I've convincingly told that and I'm internally aligned and externally aligned and telling it in a way that makes sense to people, that's alignment. I hit my goal. Maybe I'm really sad. If I'm able to figure out how I feel, what are the words, what's the vibe, and then align externally to make it make sense to people, that's alignment. Because honestly, if you talk to a lot of musicians, artists, it's because they grew up misunderstood. No one understood them. Like me growing up, I was ignored. I won't go too deep into it because it gets kind of sad, but like, you know, I kind of had like this experience where like, man, I felt like no one understands me, you know? And so that's what fascinated me so much about music and art was like, man, these people are able to express what they're going through and people actually care, you know? I would like to see what that feels like, to know what it feels like for someone to care, you know?
Yeah, I guess music comes from a range of emotions, right?
Right.
Right? It doesn't have to be one thing. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe it's kind of a fad. Maybe, it's, you know, like maybe this time it's about, you know, I don't know, like politics. Maybe next time it's about relationship. You know, it can be like a fad, right? What people love to talk about. Maybe people are more somber now. Maybe they're more conservative. Maybe they're more democratic, liberal, or whatever. Or maybe they're more in tune with their roots. It is a kind of a cycle, right?
Right.
So you know, there was a time when there was the grunge era. Remember that back in the back in the early '90s, right? So it was about anger. Right? And you know, most of the music that I listened to on the radio was like the guitar and some guy real angry about something, right? Right. So it is a kind of a cycle, right? And to be able to have the perspective of looking at the big picture, you know, to understand that that's the way the world works. It's not always about anger. It's also about joy and suffering and love and hate.
Flow.
It's ever flowing, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that. And I guess as an artist, you want to pick an emotion, right? Like, which wave am I going to ride? Because that's how you make a significant dent in the world. When Pearl Jam and Nirvana and those artists tapped into the anger part of the cycle, they became successful, right? So it's also probably about picking one, because I think because it's branding. It's branding, right? It's branding. You need to know that people need to know what you're about. If I want to listen to anger, I'll listen to Pearl Jam. If or not anymore, but you know, the old Pearl Jam or Nirvana. If I want to listen to, you know, like world music, I want to listen to Enya and these world music artists, right? So I guess it's about branding. Choosing an emotion is part of the branding. Am I right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think you know how music labels they have the power and control
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
push which emotion
Mm-hmm.
you wanted to spread the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just so blessed that here in the Philippines, there's not a lot of anger music going on. It's just probably me. Maybe a couple of hip
There are
hop.
many angry people.
Yeah, and maybe like some rock songs like Greyhounds, like you know what I'm saying? But like you know what's like really really big here in the Philippines,
What's
and
re-
especially in like Southeast Asia.
Okay.
Romance love songs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like love,
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying. Like that's really that's why we're so blessed to be in this side of the world. Eastern values.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're really promoting like those love songs and all that. Compared to America, man.
Mm-hmm.
America, the music labels are run by like really not good people.
Okay.
Like really not good people, and then they tapped into the emotion of anger.
Okay.
They tap into those dark side,
of dark side of like the music industry.
Okay.
Reason being is like they want to take advantage of like the majority of the people in America who's like really on that frequency,
Divide and conquer.
divide and conquer, right? And then in that way, they're more easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
They're more easy to like, all right, compared here, thank God. Well, they're still doing like, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway,
Oh,
here-
this is a talk show, man. All we can do is talk
well,
about
all
it.
right, man. All right, man. All these politicians who buy votes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, which is okay. You guys do that. It's part of the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is like we're so blessed to be in this part of the world where the music that we're like that's always kept on promoting here is still loved. You know, like the love songs and all that.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, and then those grungy, angry songs, like it's also part of life. You know, it's also there. We're just
I
out
got
there
something
to
to add to this.
unveil.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, there's still anger in the world.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like most of the like music labels here, at least they're also promoting like still the good values, right? Which is cool. Compared to America, man, they're like the top, like they're really not good people. Like they're really not good people, man. They're like, look at Diddy. Look at Diddy, man. Like that's, and Diddy is only
The tip of the iceberg?
no, he's just yeah. That's just the
one,
tip
yeah.
of the iceberg. If you're gonna go deeper, yeah, we're gonna start praying. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is a spiritual battle. So you know what I'm saying? Like, if
that's
you
right.
really want to go deeper there,
So
everyone listening there, start praying to God. Go back to Jesus. Yeah,
So if you uproot Diddy, who do you think is underneath? Who are the roots there?
uproot.
Yeah.
Oh man, like
Who's up down there?
down or up?
No,
Like,
down there because P Diddy, like you said,
Oh, just the tip of the iceberg.
the tip of the iceberg. So who do you think who's the next guy to fall?
Oh man, who the next guy to fall?
Yeah.
Like whoever is in the Epstein list, you know what I mean? Epstein list, like, yeah. So I'm like, yo, you've been in Atlanta, bro. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Like it's so dark, bro. Like
I got a personal story.
Yeah.
here.
Go ahead, tell
Right?
everybody,
So-
bro. Go ahead.
So when I was
Before you do that, Jim Narvios is watching. He's actually from Houston, and he's actually also a rap R&B artist. In fact, he launched an album just a few weeks ago during the Sinulog. Rocco Steady. That's his name, Rocco Steady. He's now a lawyer, a top-notch lawyer in Houston. But and he came back here to Cebu to reconnect with his R&B and hip hop roots. And I think you guys should meet up.
yeah.
man.
What's up, Jim?
Oh man,
Rocco
what's up?
Steady.
What's up, man?
Yeah.
definitely down for sure.
Before he leaves for Houston. Are you staying here for a little bit? A little bit
Staying
more?
here till the 8th.
The 8th. So Jim and Pizza Palace, you guys should meet, and of course Cookie's here. Go ahead. Please continue with the dark side of the music industry.
Yeah, for sure. So like you know what's funny is like when I was younger I would hear stories about like the darker side of the music industry and I was just like just like rumors, whatever. And like so mind you, I'm just working on music, right?
Okay.
So my original intention when I first did music was there's a lot of racism going on in the US. And so they always kind of portray Asian men as like feminized and very,
Feminized,
like
okay.
they try to feminize the Asian man
Okay.
out
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah.
That's
It's so
weird.
messed up. But
Okay.
I think the reason why they do that is because they understand how much strength comes from our community.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So
But
like
by the way, there's nothing wrong with being feminized.
yeah,
right?
of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
well,
it's just,
yeah,
it's just when they don't want. If they want to be feminized, great, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if they don't want to be, like, don't try to paint this narrative. We're about to flip the script. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, so I'm looking around at because if you look at kind of like who they would cast as Asian male characters in movies, TV shows, it was always a certain type of casting
The simps.
specifically. Yeah, that kind of energy.
yeah.
And I'm like,
energy.
and I'm looking around in my neighborhood, and I'm like, man, like, yo, our neighborhood's kind of like, it's cool. Like, I was so confused at what I was seeing on TV because it was so different from like my neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I was like, all we got to do is just work on some music and showcase our energy, right? We're gonna rebalance the
Yeah.
narrative that's out there. We're flipping the
Yeah.
script, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is where my intentions were good, but it went the wrong direction because what happened was, like there was like, there's kind of like what I wanted to highlight was when you come together, it's stronger. But I think what the people saw was like the tough energy and that sort of thing. And that kind of, because we're doing like the Atlanta sound and we're authentically showing our neighborhood. And I think people just got the wrong message from what we're doing. And what happened over the years was I noticed our neighborhood just getting a little bit more violent. They started dressing like us. But in a negative way. And all these people showing up.
What do you mean dressing like us in a negative way? What do you mean?
Or just kind of the way, like they I have nothing against the style. The style is cool. But just like if you choose to interact with people in a very like ways that encourage fights or violence, like and like
wearing guns.
Yeah. I'm trying to I'll be more specific. Yes. Yeah. So the allegedly everything's alleged. Yeah. So what was kind of interesting is like I'm a kid at this point, right? I just wanted to make music. I didn't realize how powerful this music thing was. Like imagine this thing. You're just making a song in your room and you step into a crowd and it's 10,000 people. You're like, and they're all saying your song. You walk down the street and you see everyone on your block playing your music, driving. You just hear it everywhere, and you're just like shocked. And then, but then later you start realizing, oh, this is kind of creating a negative effect in my neighborhood. And then that's when, honestly, I got scared.
Yeah.
Like when you discover you have a superpower, but you didn't realize that you could hurt a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when that's actually when I took a break from music. I was like, it's like giving a kid a huge car to drive.
Yeah.
And like, man, I'm ready. I'm so excited to drive the car, not realizing I'm going over people's lawns, breaking a few people's like mailboxes and stuff like that. So I was like, man, before I deserve this car, I need to go back, sit down, reflect, become a better storyteller with more, and then I can deserve to step back into it. So this is me actually coming back after that experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Same experience with me. Like, this one song that I was like, what have I done? like that feeling that I had. Like I was like, wow, I'm toast. Like when I dropped Sabak Daddy, I thought I was just funny at that time, right? Like, it was all funny. Like, yo, I'm just like unveiling what's really going on in that side of things. And now I realized kids started singing it. Like those, let's say kids, adolescents started to like really good at really listening to the music. And then 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's already embedded in their mind. And then they started doing some
crazy shit.
Promiscuous things.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, man, like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't really meant to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now, like me, like...
because that's what art is, right? Yeah.
It was.
It takes a life of its own. You no longer... If you unleash the beast, it's there.
And it's unleashed. Right. And
you know what I mean? It's out of your control, right?
Exactly. And I really felt
and
bad.
you don't know what's going to happen to it, right?
Yes.
It can be this huge hit, or it can be like a dud, right?
Yeah.
You don't know. That's how small the opening is for success, right? And I have a thing that I love saying. It's just you throw everything on the ceiling and see what sticks, right? Because art is a numbers game, right? It's really a numbers game. The more you churn out, the higher probability of succeeding, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that once you know what sticks, then you keep on coming back to that thing that sticks. But as far as the impact of your artwork is, because I think the purpose of art, this is just, of course, my perspective, is really to elicit a response. You know what I mean? Art is about, whoa, what the hell was that? You know, when you look at a painting, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like a strong response. Art can change the world, sure. Art can change the world for the better, for the worse, maybe.
Right.
But it just elicits a strong response, and I think that's what real artwork is. You know what I mean? And it's not really intentional. I think it wasn't your intention.
It wasn't my intention, for sure. I was like, I think I was just eliciting that you know how I was like my feeling when I made that song. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
Like, this is a funny song. Dropped it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my art. I looked at it as a funny song.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It is funny. It is funny.
And then it turned dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, whoa, I didn't really meant to do that,
Yeah.
but like, it's still like, you know what I'm saying? And I walk out the street, and then people calling me daddy and all that. Like, man, like, no, don't do that. Like, you know, I'm not that. Yeah, I'm not.
No,
that guy, yeah.
that's incorrect. When you say you're not that person, you are no longer that person. I guess, right?
I wasn't that person in the first place. Like,
Yeah,
I was just like,
you were just
yeah.
interpreting somebody's work, maybe, perhaps, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
I made that song specifically for a certain person. Cause
Yeah.
like it was, and he's like a good friend of mine.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like addicted to that type of world.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like the promiscuous. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And I was like, that's it. I made that song, and it blew up. Yeah, and
I think you were at the crib when it started going viral.
yeah.
Yeah. When he was in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in New York, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like, yeah. But yeah, and also like I've been like talking to you about like I've been more closer to God, reading the Bible a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's this passage where like when Jesus said like if you call someone a fool, you're in danger in the fires of hell. And I just made a hit song called Bugo. So I was like, wow, no, like you gotta say like wow, yo. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like now I'm like,
I know what you're trying to say, and I know the context of what you're trying to say. But like the idea of the self, who you are today is no longer true tomorrow. You know what I mean? True. From a cellular level, we are not ourselves completely 100% totally different person 8 years from now because we shed our cells, right? And we're a totally different physical self 7-8 years from now, right?
Yeah.
So that was true at that time. You sang it, you went to the studios, and you did it really well. You nailed it. So maybe that was true.
That was true.
At that time. That was the you 5 years ago.
Yes.
But that's no longer true. That doesn't mean that you're going to hate that person because part of who you are was because of the you 5 years ago.
Well, thank you for giving me that perspective.
In fact, you should appreciate the fact that you were this irresponsible idiot who just kept yakking away at stuff.
Hey, yo.
I meant that in a good way. I'm sorry, man. But because I believe that we're all idiots, I believe that we're all fools.
Yeah.
I was definitely an idiot when I was younger, for sure.
So I guess that's what I mean by because we're people are stories. We're not one thing. We're like an arc, right? We're a to be a human being is a process. A human being is like, it's not like a rock. Although a rock comes from a mountain, right? It's still a process. Right. So we're still a process of becoming who we are, right?
Yeah.
We're to be human is to be part of the process. There's so many processes going on inside us right now. I'm like digestion, like inhalation, like aging, and all of these things, and our neurons are firing so we can say the right words in front of the microphone. We're a process. We're not done yet. We're done when we're done, but in the meantime, here we are.
Right.
Staring at the abyss, being in this planet that's circling around a hot ball of fire at unbelievable speed, and just being here and be thankful. Oh my God, I have this chance to be here at Tops to talk to two beautiful people like Pizza Palace and Cookies, right? And to be able to have an audience, it's unbelievable, right? And I think that's where music comes from the chaos, right? And we just have different ways of interacting with that chaos, right? The West have their way of looking at the world. The Filipino, the Asians have a different way of interacting with the chaos. Right? I was talking to Dice and K9 earlier.
Dice, yeah.
I was talking to him about how we were able to because R&B, hip hop, and rap is like a Western art form, right? It started in the United States. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the early '80s, right? And I was asking him like how were we able to translate an American art form into a Filipino thing, right? And he was telling me that most of it is still very Western. You know, this whole rap thing is about this, is about that. You know, it is a kind of a formula. It has a formula. That's why it becomes a genre, because there's already a formula.
Right.
You know, that's R&B, that's hip hop, that's rap.
Right.
You know, talking, you know, like with a beat and all that stuff, a certain beat is so. But
You could be a music producer.
yeah.
Bro. Like,
So how do we interact with that chaos? It really depends on each culture, right? So I guess the question here that I'm asking for, maybe like inputs from you, especially you, Pizza Palace, is you've noticed how Filipinos, Cebuanos rap. You're good friends with Cookies, right? And you also are familiar with what's going on in Brooklyn and in Atlanta and in the United States, for that matter. What do you think is the main difference? How do Cebuanos, how does the Bisaya rap, and how does the Atlantan or the New Yorker rap? How does he interact with the chaos?
ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I love what you said kind of about like the formula is that like I believe that culture, like people could call it a formula, people could call it a culture, but we have all relational moments that we all experience, right? So it's familiar. So, oh man, I've become familiar with this rhythm, the 808s, or oh, I got familiar with the boom bap rhythm or whatever. Oh, I became familiar with these chord progressions. I'm low key kind of giving game on music production, but like,
Okay.
you're creating relational moments by the beat that you choose. And then with the lyrics that you choose, you're also speaking on relational moments. So I think what's so unique specifically about Cebuano music and also hip hop is there's this amazing culture out here where, hey, if you're in the city, you're in the city. You got the city life. You go over just like a few minutes over, you got the beach. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Then you go over a few minutes over there, you got the mountains. So like your perspective on life just through visually is so big. Like you get what I'm saying? Whereas like, shout out to Atlanta. I love Atlanta. You drive a few minutes. Oh, forest. It's like a forest. Oh, maybe some few buildings here. More forest. More forest. Maybe like you have to really drive to go to the mountains. So like to me, what's really unique and special about Bisaya rap, hip hop is that understanding of all those different experiences, plus with the tropical weather, you hear that in the music. Like, and it translates so well to areas with similar climates. And I'm not gonna lie, when it's New York in winter, I'm listening to Cebuano music. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want the warmth because I'm freezing out there, you know? I'm trying to tap in with the warmth. So that's what I've been noticing.
You know, poverty plays a lot,
Yeah.
a role in art, right? I mean, like, in fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that, especially with the early rap music, they were talking about, you know, the cars, the gold chains, you know, their wealth. No, it comes from a place of insecurity, right? A lot of that. The early rap days, right? You know, you notice all those big chains and those jewelry, like, you know what I mean? Like, it comes from, like, because they didn't, they were from the ghetto before, and then, you know, they didn't have that. So once they accumulated a kind of wealth, they would brag about it. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. Am I interpreting it incorrectly? Is there a part of rap that's all about bragging?
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
A huge amount of that is about bragging, right?
That's
And
what
it
we're
comes from a
trying to-
place of insecurity.
Yeah, that's where we're trying to avoid. Like, you know, like when you saying, like we were talking about how Atlanta is like so dark. They're all about bragging. Look at my change, $2 million on my wrist.
Yeah, and then the teeth,
Like,
right?
Yeah, look at my teeth. Yeah, I can see the village, and it's so.
Yeah.
It's like it really repelled me out of that like energy. Like yo, I got tapped in that energy though.
Yeah,
That's why I'm like hence I got some like the bugo, the bisdako,
Yeah,
like. But at least my songs is not about like at that time like it's just like showing the emotion of like people, right?
Mhm.
But like in like especially in Atlanta, like they're like really big about like promoting violence. We gonna swipe you. Like swipe means it's like kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of energy. Then promoting that, and then the hood starts to listen to that, and then once they start listening to that, you know, like yo, like they'll be like, I fuck 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bitches, right? That means they're promoting division within the family, which is if you have a nuclear family na lang kay mom, dad, and then that's it. That's like a very that's like the best. That's the best thing that you will have in your life, actually, because like when your kid grows out, there's parents that's guiding you. But because of this music, na they promote in their mind, like oh, it's normal to just like fuck this bitch and go, and then what happens? That girl probably like, oh yeah, this is how it is. Now I'm just gonna be independent and like you know what I'm saying, like and then tell their kid that yeah, all men are not good. Like look at your father, he's deadbeat and all that.
Right.
Creates division, right?
Right.
And then when everything is divided, they're more easy to be manipulated. They're more easy to like whatever is in the top of like let's say in the Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So guess what? Who's promoting Kamala Harris at that time? Those rappers, Sexy Red, like you know what I'm saying? Like they are all part of that system. They are part of the system.
In a way, we're all unknowingly part of the system.
Yeah.
We're even participating in it. That's the wheels of commerce turning, and we're just cogs of that, and it's out of control, man.
It is.
It is out of control, and whether we like it or not, I feel like we're all part of it.
And that's what's going on in America, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I know there's something going on. Like yo, I think it's already saturated here. Let's bring that system out there. Let's bring that system in the Philippines, and let it be known. Let it be known. If you guys are trying to do that here,
Now,
we'll see.
You know what?
We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you.
But isn't music a reflection of society? Isn't it a mirror image? When you listen to an art form, it's not something new. It's something that's going on, and so the more people sing about that song, the more whatever that is more prevalent. That thing is in society at that time, right? So if you talk about insecurity, and maybe there are more insecure people in society. You know, which came first? I think it's the topic that came first, because how will you write about something if it didn't happen, right?
Yeah,
So music is a reflection of society, right? Not the other way around. Not the other way around.
Again, but if you're in a nuclear family, like if you have like your mom, your dad, and then that's it, I don't think you're gonna be that insecure. It all depending on how they.
It really depends.
You can't say that, but
Never say never,
highly likely it's not gonna be like kanang grabe jud ka, kanang grabe jud ka. Let's say dark ang agiun sa na person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at least they're being guided until they're 18, until they start being rebellious.
In case you're wondering what on earth we're talking about here, man, this is Pizza Pals all the way from Brooklyn, New York, and his friend from Atlanta. When he stayed in Atlanta, I'm talking about, of course, Cookies here live in the studios of 105.1 TMC. Atong hisgutan karong buntaga, just a sneak at the rap, hip hop, and R&B culture locally here in Cebu and in a global perspective from Pizza Palace here. I know that your perspective is probably more towards Brooklyn and Atlanta, right? Pizza Palace, because that's where you usually mostly lived. But how about on a global scale? Like, how do you feel about the rap, hip hop, and R&B scene? Because we see a lot of great Japanese rappers, right? We see a lot of great African rappers, like in the continent of Africa. How do you feel about where we are now, as far as the globe is concerned? What's the direction now?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think that, especially with like hip hop and rap, it's originally like a black art form. I always want to shout that out, right? Because those the black community is like the pioneers of this art form and just kind of creating it. It was a great platform to just kind of speak on what's happening in the neighborhood. So I think when it comes from that, and then seeing how much it's spread universally around the world, that's amazing. I would say, with the asterisks of as long as it's respecting the core culture of where it's coming from, I believe that, hey, if I say I'm part of a community, I'm also contributing towards it. You know what I mean? So it's like just kind of understanding the roots and that sort of thing. To me, I think that's very important as it spreads globally. Is like, let's make sure to shout out originally where it came from and like the roots of it, because the art form did come from a place of pain, right? It's like, man, no one's listening to us,
right. Yeah, true.
right? Man, we don't have the resources to have a band or this and that. So I'm going to take this tape recorder, I'm going to take this record, put it on repeat, and then layer it with some boom bap, slowed down break beats to give it that hip hop feel, because that's all I have access to, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, as it's spread, I think it's amazing, and the impact at the same time. I think just for the culture, it's also important just to always shout that out, just out of respect. Like, I think it's always important.
Yeah.
And that's why also here in the Philippines, like hip hop is like super popular, because like we're like in like, grabe ang poverty sa
Yeah.
So that means families that doesn't really afford to buy a guitar.
Right.
Like that can't like really afford to buy a drum set. Man. So they started doing rap, and then rap battles. It's like in their community, that's their way of entertaining themselves. Like, yo, me and you, let's do a rap battle, and it's also an art form, and it also makes them smart, because now they're like picking and choosing words that's really kanang mga double entendres. Now they're poets.
Okay.
They became like because of poverty, like they became poets, right?
Yeah.
So that's and that's shout out to them that they found that art form. Now they use that art form to get out of like that environment, and again, it's up to them. It's like sometimes the dark or the light to basin mo dam, like let's say for example ako, I got carried away too in the dark side. Like I got like super egotistic. Like I'm the like what's up? I'm cookies here and there, and every time like when you prioritize the self and the ego, it's always the next thing is gonna be the downfall. And I felt that, like I've been.
Well,
there,
yeah.
So
you're discussing a narrative, an arc of the fallen hero and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, we all fall down, right? At the end of the day, we all go to the same place, 6 feet underground, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like sooner or later, the narrative actually is all the same. Like we rise to a stratospheric heights and then we fall down. That's just the arc of the of the human condition, right? There is no forever rising, right? There is no such thing, especially in the music industry, right?
Yeah, so like in the world in general, in book of Ecclesiastes, like in the Bible, it's the book where Solomon's emo phase.
Yeah.
When he started to become emo, it's like, oh, I got all these things. I got 800 women. I got all the gold. I am like king of the world technically in that time. You know what I realized? Everything is meaningless. He said that. Everything is meaningless. Like all this gold temple, like word, like in 600 years, it's gonna be dirt.
Exactly.
It's gonna be like wala ra ba. So in that book, he just said, as long as you love your work and you eat like drink and eat good,
More jud ingon. More yan na-realize mo na.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Just that is your lot in life.
Think about the greatest person in the world right now. Maybe think about the smartest person, Albert Einstein. 1,000 years from now, nobody will know about him.
Nobody will know
In
about
fact, a few billion years from now, nobody will know about this thing called Earth. You know, because this is going to disintegrate into nothingness. So everything just
everything's gonna
nothing,
disintegrate.
right? Yeah. So I love the fact that you mentioned earlier, Pizza Palace, about the process, right? Because it's really just about the process. It's just about now.
Yeah,
like right now.
exactly.
Right now is a process. Like we're
Even now.
we're
Yeah.
we're having this conversation to try to scratch the surface about this thing called R&B, hip hop, and rap and R&B, and maybe even accidentally scratch on the surface of life, right? We're just barely scratching the surface. We don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Exactly.
To be honest, to both of you, I'm just blabbing away. You know, I'm the guy with the microphone. Both of us, the three of us have a microphone, but you know, I'm saying that, and that's what I believe in now. But things could change dramatically. Maybe there's some new information. You know, maybe have a new experience. You don't know what's gonna happen to your brain. You don't know what's gonna happen to you, right?
Yeah.
You might slip and break your head. You know, and then that's the end of you.
Yeah, they're probably gonna
Right.
be,
So I love that it's about the process. You know, flip the script. You did that a few weeks ago, right? Tell me about that. How did you curate the artist? Was there like a kind of curation process? Do you pick the less egotistical artists, or what? How does it work for you?
You know,
Less egotistical. How do you measure that? Hey, your ego, you can't go in because
we understand that everyone's in different phases of their life.
Yeah, absolutely,
And the thing is that, like, hey, regardless of whatever phase people are at their lives, we're always encouraging people, right? So, like, man, I've been in phases of my life where maybe I was moving kind of crazy, but I was blessed to have people around me who was like, man, you know, he's just figuring it out. He needs some time. So, like, I just want to be clear, like, hey, no matter what phase in life we are, as long as people are going in that cool direction, man, we could respect that. You know what I mean? That's all it takes. And we all are just on that journey together. So I just want to, you know, put that out there. How do we put the artists together? So that really came from, shout out to Pasha, man.
Yeah, Escape Artist. Like, yeah, my manager actually, shout out Tristan Pasha of Escape Artist.
Yeah, he's so dope. And I really want to give him his flowers because he's one of those guys where you can kind of communicate, because number one, if we're going to work in a community, we have to work with people who are authentically in the community and have history in here. If we want authenticity, that's really important. So, you know, had a few conversations with Pasha, you know, kind of reference a few people. By the way, shout out to Superior Empire as one of our partners, 777 International, 6 a.m. events, as well as Escape Artists. So we just all kind of huddled together, you know, figured it out, and then just kind of through conversations, you know, shared the idea. And one of the things that was really powerful about this was that we assembled like an amazing kind of group of people who are so talented, very passionate, and kind of all have their own sound. And like one thing that resonated was, and the feedback we kept getting from different artists was, they really resonated with the idea of flip the script. You know what I mean? I think every single person from this first event, I got the energy that they understood what the vision was, you know, of like, hey, we're really trying to, if we don't tell our narrative, you know, other people are going to try to tell it for us. And sometimes they're just going to paint whatever picture they want. So I really think it's important in all of our communities to create platforms where we get to tell our own stories, you know? So whatever that is, and the diversity of the stories, one person might tell a story this way or that way, it's all valid because those are their experiences, and that comes together, you know, in the overall story, you know? So
I'm curious, what is their story? Because you have flipped the script, there's more than 10 artists, right? I saw the poster. There's a lot of artists, right? So if you had to observe, if you had to analyze,
right.
Let's be over analytical here for a while.
Right.
Like, what were the stories that they were telling in Flip the Script, the first one, the first iteration? Was that the first one?
So this was the first one.
Okay, so tell me about what was the narrative, the prevalent narrative, the most common narrative.
You know that one, I would say. The common theme that I kind of saw was like just people coming together. You know what I mean? Like when you kind of saw the energy of people talking with each other, sharing, You know, you just kind of saw people, like even the artists would talk to each other. Man, that was so dope. Man, I learned something from you seeing you perform. I didn't realize that stage trick or this, or man, you have so much poise when you perform. Man, I aspire to, like, it was so refreshing to kind of see that, you know, because sometimes, you know, again, people can be like, man, I'm like cooler than everyone, and like that kind of energy, right? And like, you know, that can happen and this and that, but the general energy was that, and that was really cool. And I think also the second thing is, like, we understand when it's the first time to do an event, we're earning the trust of people.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
understand
Yeah.
for the first event,
Just to
there
build
might
the
be
brand,
people
right?
like, what is this?
Yeah.
What, like, they might recognize the artist, but is the production cool? Like, did they actually take time with the stage? Or
Where did
this
you
and
do
that?
this again?
At Cartel Studios.
Where's that?
It's like around Mandaue.
Yeah, across Park Mall.
Okay. Are you gonna do it again?
Yeah, so-
Before you leave? No.
So the idea is to do kind of like a yearly cadence with smaller events throughout the year. So the smaller events are just to kind of have a consistent flow and that sort of thing to keep having platforms for people to share their art. You know, I remember when I was younger,
Primarily rap, hip hop, and R&B
so
art,
we're,
right?
we're starting with that because that's where a lot of our relationships lie.
Okay.
And then as it evolves, we want to slowly begin to be more inclusive of different genres as well. Because the idea here, again, is stronger together. You might be a fan of this genre, you might be a fan of that genre, but at the end of the day, we're all human. We're going through similar human experiences, and we're just finding the words and the soundtrack to describe what we're experiencing. So that's the eventual end goal, but you know, we have some work to get to that point. We take it a step at a time, and it starts with trust. Like, our job is to come and be like, we actually care about giving you a good experience. You're coming out to share your trust that you might invite your friends, and you're vouching for us if you invite your friends that it's a cool event, you know? So that's really what we're doing right now at this phase.
You know, when I asked you about what was the common theme, you were describing to us a technical description of what how they interacted with each other, how they performed. So I guess my next question is, how about from a lyrical perspective? What were the stories that they were telling and flip the script? If you had to pick like the most common theme, what were they singing about? What were they rapping about?
You know that part. Like, I've relied more on Pasha and
Okay.
Cookies to, you know, one thing.
Yes,
I will
was
share
it mostly in Binisaya, ba?
Yeah, mostly
Binisaya?
Mostly Bisaya. And
But
then
were there
there's-
wala in English? Nothing in English?
Well, there's them too.
Okay.
Like we got artists who shout out Foreign,
Shout
shout out
Foreign Logic.
Jamie,
Okay.
Jay
Shout out
Anders.
Jay Anders.
Yeah,
Shout out John Bain.
they performed in English. Like,
Okay.
they're from North Carolina.
Because I think you can extract a lot from what they're singing about, what they're rapping about, right? Because, you know, like if you don't understand what they're singing about, and they're probably saying something really, really nasty, and you're sitting there and that sounds nice, but because I think again, music making is a form of rebellion expression, right? So would you be able to
You know what?
tell us what were they mostly singing about?
You know the beauty of it now that I just realized is like there's the English, Tagalog, Kio, and then
What's a Kio?
Kio is an artist.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
we flew.
Really dope
Well, they
artist.
flew him from Manila to perform.
okay.
So mostly he sings Tagalog songs, and it's more about life and all that. And yeah, and mostly Bisaya artists. So it's like all three languages at that event, and like that's actually, it's like a good way of flipping the script. Na dili lang puro Bisaya, dili ra puro Tagalog,
Yeah.
dili ra puro English, and it's like that's cool. And then ang mga lyrics nila dito kay mostly ang ilarong whatever community that they had in their environment. Let's say sila Bake Shop, Justro. Justro is really painting a picture when he writes lyrics. He really paints a picture about Argao, and then the lifestyle of Argao.
Okay.
And then the organic lifestyle people, their lyrics is really promoting don't do the hard mga bato na mga drugs, and they're also educating them about marijuana. They're also educating them like, actually this plant is not that what you think. Ano. And then of course there's the Rapolo, Dumudung Records. That group, they are promoting poetry when they're in their lyrics. They're really like the core rap. Like if you're really talking about hip hop and rap, like in like they're it, you know, because
they went off.
they went off like
Yeah.
like the fast lyrics and the rhymes, and then and then how they like they are
They
it.
were going ham.
They were going like so. Yeah, so that's and there's also other artists that we call them like independent underground artists like Enrico Rims.
Independent underground, pag yun.
Oh, they really independent because no one
Yeah.
wala nagpuput nila.
Okay.
Yeah, underground is like they don't really talk about like the mainstream lyrics type na mga kuan. So basically they're all underground.
Yeah.
You got what I'm saying?
Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
because of social media now, I think everything underground is already in the foreground. Like, there's nothing underground
There's
anymore.
nothing underground
You know,
anymore, yeah.
unless you go back and live in the caves, right? And then you can talk about like underground stuff, literally underground stuff.
Right.
So yeah, I think the like ang theme siguro the theme for all the artists that they're doing is like
So it looks like it's very diverse, right?
very diverse.
So-
but the theme is like they're independent.
Yeah.
Like they mga kanang ila jud gi
I can say what I want because this is just my
safe
my
space
art
siguro.
form, right?
This is my art form.
Yeah.
I put it out there. I can do it, and then they're happy. Kay, like I would love to say all of them, but like, again, all of them really respect and really respect their art form.
Respect.
Respect.
Okay.
And then they really, you know, before let's say like 5-6 years ago,
Yeah.
I got into it with the hip hop community because my songs blew up, and my songs are really not that kanang technical ba. They're really not kanang why they're like nganong hip hop ano yung tawag ni Cookies na dili man na siya hip hop, wala man kay na siya yung mga nindot na mga rhymes ano ba. So we had that riff because it's kind of like when I drop my songs, it's kind of like new sa scene ba. Because it's like I brought the Atlanta sauce and made it Bisaya. You know, and then ang vibe ba dito.
So that's what I mean, man.
Yeah.
It is a sauce. It has ingredients. It has components. It's formulaic.
Yeah,
It has a formula. So if you remove one part of it, it doesn't taste the same. If you remove the anger, it doesn't taste the same. If you remove the ego, it doesn't taste the same. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't have to be
like you said. It's a sauce that you brought in, right?
Yeah.
So it's a formula. It is a formula.
Yeah, it is a formula, but it doesn't mean if you remove it, it's gonna taste bland.
Yeah, it's gonna taste different.
It's gonna taste different.
It's not gonna be it's not some home cooking that my mom made me when I was a little boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you substitute it because you can't afford the ingredients or it's not available here.
Yeah.
So it's not in its pure form. It's not as tasty. It doesn't taste like humba anymore. It tastes like something else. Give me my humba back.
Yeah. I know it's yeah.
I see what you're saying.
But as long as let's say if you take out the ingredients and you just put another
Substitute
ingredient
it.
in,
Or
substitute it.
maybe you can make a whole new genre.
As long as you don't unsay tawag kanang murag kanang dili na limubot kag mga kanang naningkamot na lang ka ba na dili ka na siya what's the term, man?
What do you mean?
Not dilute, but like kanang
Maintainer na lang ka, so man.
o kanang matabang na ba just cause it's like yo, this is the right sauce and the ingredients. A lot of people coming in, let's kanang ato lang igamay na lang ang
magtinihik.
magtinihik ba unsay tawag kanang
Mag-scrimp siya, para makasave unsa man.
ano ba murag nahimo na siya mainstream kay para makadagan siya kwarta niya ato kanina sauce aton lang ni siya iba lasaw gamay. And then the original ones were like, oh, where's that sauce?
Yeah.
Now that you made it mainstream, we don't like that sauce anymore.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because it's too like, it's
Lasaw.
not lasaw.
Yeah,
ano.
watered down version, right?
Watered down, yeah.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, man, like I don't like that sauce anymore. And then that's the end of the.
So that's why you have to be true to your formula. You don't water it down.
Yeah.
You make sure the ingredients are right. You know, you
Yeah.
make sure you don't substitute. Make sure you don't change it. The
you
formula is the
substitute
same.
it, as long as you are like in good intentions na at least basta kay lami ni maganahan ang tao na
Yeah,
maka-
yeah.
and then-
I got a
Yeah,
metaphor
go
for
ahead,
this.
man. Go ahead, man.
So it's like for example, right? I'm newer to cooking food,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the recipe book. I'm gonna see exactly what the recipe is, and then I'm going to emulate it. So I'm gonna follow exactly what it is. But probably fast forward a few 5 years or something like that. I already know the recipe, so I know I might be able to add this instead, or I might be able to replace this,
Yeah,
and then now I'm kind of
absolutely.
that more.
Yeah.
So then I'll flip the script.
Yeah,
You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
Yeah, because that's what it really is. It's really about looking at a formula. You have to know the rules first, and then break it, right? Because you don't you don't know what to break if you don't know the rules, right?
Yeah.
So you play by the rules first, and then immediately add yourself into the equation. You know what? We're talking about this because we all agree that music is a powerful force, right?
Oh, yeah.
That music is a change agent. That music is a force for the good and for the bad, and music can be used to start revolutions or end revolutions. You know what I mean?
Right.
Music has been always integral to the human condition.
Yeah.
So it looks like what you want to do, guys, especially with Flip the Script, is to nudge music into a kind of direction, right? My question here is, what is that direction? What is the end goal? What do you have, and what's the vision for Flip the Script?
I can say that for the culture, I think self-love. Like I know it sounds like so crazy. You're like, man, what does that have to do with music or whatever? But it's like, I don't know. Sometimes like we just live lives and like, I believe there's, you ever hear the phrase, I don't know if they have this phrase here, but it's like sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
I deeply disagree
Okay.
with that statement.
Okay.
Because it's like, that's how like a lot of different organizations and things like that hurt other groups by painting a picture a
Yeah.
certain way. Then that group ends up being treated a certain way because of the narrative, So like Flip the Script is a protection against those people. That's how I kind of see it. It's kind of like, let's let folks know like the stories in Cebu. Let's let folks know the strength of what's in the city. Like, we're going to love our own people. We're going to support our own people and kind of push that energy. Because once we're able to come together, they can't really tell the story. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, the story is right here. Just come, check it out. You know, you come straight to the source. And then after that, it's hard to paint this fake picture when there's the authentic group right here, So that's the long-term vision. It all started from the van ride with Cookies. He was sharing that. And one thing that's really important to me is I could tell when he shared that story, it was very important to him, right? That's my friend, right?
I appreciate it,
Yeah,
bro.
man, of course. And like I said, we could make this happen. With that being said, I don't want to be the type of person who says something. Like we all know like a person here that they just say stuff and then it's just like, it just sounds good or whatever. But like to me, words are very powerful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Music and entertainment has taught me that you can shift worlds with your words. You get what I'm saying? So it was like, if I say I'm going to try to do something, I'm really going to put action behind it. So also Cebu showed me so much love last year. Like they didn't have to, right? I was an outsider. Came and showed so much love and like they took me around to all these amazing places. And so the least I could do is find a way to pay that love back. And I never will be able to fully, but I'm going to always have that energy to. And also, if I said, hey, we're going to try to put like a show together based off that concept, we're going to do it. So that's very important to me. So that's why also Flip the Script is important, is just kind of staying true to your word. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Life happens. Sometimes you have to adjust a little bit, but generally, if you can stay true to your word holds more weight. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to be a person where I say stuff and then it's just like, he's just saying stuff. I have the power to choose how much weight my words hold based off of if I choose to back it up.
I'm confused when you say their authentic selves and remaining true to yourself. And then whatever you say, you have to do. Because I think part of music making, correct me if I'm wrong, but a part of music making is using your imagination, right?
For sure.
And doing stuff that you can't do.
Right.
Imagining things, painting worlds that you can never inhabit, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
so what do you mean when you say I don't just use
okay.
words? I want to be able to do it, but part of music part of the craft is to imagining things that you cannot do and writing things about stuff that you cannot live, lives that you cannot live, and all that stuff.
Right. By the way, I just want to say I really enjoy this conversation because I can tell like you're a person of nuance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's so dope to
Yeah.
me. So I just want to shout that out.
Okay.
I think there's a distinction between kind of real life and kind of music, but they're also connected. So the way I see like real life, if I'm in the real world hanging out with my homie and we're talking and then we say something, I'm going to stay as true to my word as I can. You know, we all fall short sometimes, right? That happens, or life happens, but at least we have the intention to push that way, right? Now, on the flip side, on music, what I truly believe is that, like, if you see a lot of people who are drawn towards music, we kind of went through some, like, messed up situations or something. Like, there's kind of a lot of, sometimes I feel like it's triggered by trauma, and life has tried to cage us. And I feel like music is practice to learn how to trust again by like exploring. If I'm trapped physically, I'm going to mentally free myself. But I have to start with that before I can start imagining things in real life. So I think there's a very therapeutic thing that comes from just the creation of the music process. By the way, if anyone listening, I feel like if you're just doing music, you don't even have to do it well. Just do it for yourself. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, oh, I just want to try to write a little song or sing something or whatever. Just make it for yourself. Like, I think it's like, what am I even feeling today? Like, could I try to put some words to it? Like, there's something very special about it. Now you're stretching your mind. So now I have more power when I say something in the real world. I've already practiced how to say it in a convincing way. I think that's also something that's very powerful about music. So I love the distinction you make. I think there is a distinction. Like, music, I think it's more kind of stretching the potential. So we have the ability to dream. And then now, at least for me, this is my personal choice. Now that I've stretched my mind, I want to be able to have my actions back up those words. You know what I mean? So everyone has their own personal choice. You know, for me, that's kind of my choice. You know,
You mentioned earlier in our off-cam conversation about songwriting, and you were here for songwriting at some point.
Yeah.
So tell me about that part of you, because I think that's important, because I think a lot of rap artists, a lot of artists in general are kind of raw. And I think being able to understand the process of songwriting and how nuanced it is, and there's actually a process and there's like steps, you know, and look at it from an academic point of view. What is that? What is that part of you that brought you here to Cebu because of songwriting? What was that all about?
That's pretty cool. So number one, I think everyone's songwriting and creation process is deeply personal.
Okay.
So I also respect the fact that there's so many pathways.
Okay.
Right? There's so many. I will never be a person that says this is the one way to be creative, because that's actually the opposite of being creative.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, so I'll start with that. Number two, if I was to put a process to it, in terms of when I collaborate with artists and when we songwrite together or we come up with concepts, I always just like to start with conversation. I just like to start with the vibe. How are we feeling? Where are we at? Like, mentally, emotionally, all that stuff. Because that's where the most genuine words and the most genuine experiences are going to come from, you know? And then sometimes they're like, man, I'm bored. I'm like, that's the song concept. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, sometimes the thing that we think is not special because it's so regular to us, that's what's special.
It is.
That's why sometimes, like, I appreciate conversations with Cookies, because sometimes I'll just be living my life and he'll point something out in my life that I didn't even realize. And I'm like, oh, that is really dope, you know? But I always like to say we sleep on ourselves. Like, because we experience it every day, so regular, so normal. But we have to remember that to someone else, that's their dream. You know what I'm saying? To someone out there, like, so many people in Cebu is like, man, like, oh man, I want to see what it's like over here, over there. And me coming into Cebu, I'm like, man, it's so beautiful over here. Like, man, this is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, man,
It's,
in New York,
actually, in Cebu, like, let me just give you a story. Like, a lot of foreigners here when they arrive in Cebu, their like life perspective just like we like flip the script.
Yes.
Like you like literally like I know a couple foreigners that moved like they lived in like let's say LA their whole life.
Okay. Okay.
And then when they got here, they started crying. And like
Mhm.
and then and they were like, "Why are you crying?" Because I'm just surprised that I see people that it's like barefoot to mountains and smiling and just having a great time, and then they can he or that person can sense the joy in that like when they got here in Cebu, or not just Cebu, in Philippines, they can sense the joy na like yo they rarely got anything, but they're still able to smile and they have like that energy na
Spiritually rich out here.
yeah, spiritually rich. And like that foreigner was probably stressed about like things that's like he or she started to compare her problems with like whatever he saw or she saw here,
Mhm.
and then she realized na it just flipped the script sa iyang life perspective na wow, like it's not about like whatever I got working on in that foreign country. It's just like look at it. It's just within us. And I know mga, and then it just flipped the script, and now they started to live in Siargao, surfing. And most of them are there. So yeah, they're like their program got flipped. And hey, we're like, oh, what the heck? Like, yeah.
You know, I'm a huge fan of. I don't know if you're familiar with this author, Yuval Harari. I don't know if you're familiar with the book *Sapiens*. His whole thing is that everything is just a story, a narrative, right? You know, the story of the corporation. A corporation is nothing. You know, it's just a piece of paper. If all of the Nike studios, all of the Nike stores burned down,
Right.
Nike will still exist because it's just an idea. So somebody can just build another building and build more shoes, right? Because the concept of a corporation is just an idea. The concept of money is an idea, right? We all trust on this piece of paper. If I gave this to you, that
Then-
I can buy a pair of shoes, right? If I didn't trust that, if I didn't believe in the collective agreement that money is worth something, then money is actually just a piece of paper. It's nothing. So it's just about his whole thing is about the narrative of our lives, the narrative of the human condition. We're supposed to be this and we're supposed to be that. If you do this and it's not good, if you do that, it's bad. It's all about a story. So I love the fact that you're trying to nudge the narrative of the human condition to a more positive direction. I like that, and I
I think that's the flip the script.
that
Yeah. And like this is maybe where I'm pulling up a little bit of the curtain to peek behind it.
Okay.
We just want to encourage critical thinking.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like we're fed all these different narratives from so many different sources, so many different places, right?
Yeah.
And in this age of social media, we're blasted with so many different
Yeah.
narratives, right? So like at this point, it's just kind of like I think a really valuable skill set for the next generation. And when I say next generation, like me, myself too, and it's just
Everybody,
like,
actually.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like imagine a world where we normalize critical thinking.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, I hear this narrative. Let me think about this. Let me think about this for myself. Like, what are the implications? Like, so many good things can happen just from the skill set of critical thinking, right? Because now we get to make the choice of instead of what's popular, what makes sense. And sometimes when you see people argue and then they argue at a certain point, they're not arguing based off of what's right. They begin to argue off of like who's right versus what's right.
Yeah.
Or they're like arguing to get instead of arguing to get what's right, just focus on like what's the truth. Like
That's the thing, man. Like most people actually like their comfortable truths, right?
Yeah.
They're comfortable with this. Can you not give me how miserable or how chaotic or whatever negative vibe the truth is this is my truth because I'm comfortable with this, and I think that's really the distinction that we have to make. What do you want with your life? Do you want to live in the comforts of fables, or do you want to know the cold hard facts? And I think those are the two things that we decide upon ourselves. What do we want to live? Do we want to live in a world of fantasy? Do you want to live in La La Land? Do you want to live with comfortable fables, or do you want to look at the world and see it for what it is,
Right.
and the cold hard facts of life? I think critical thinking gets you there. Sometimes critical thinking gets you to a dark place. Sometimes
for sure.
critical thinking takes you to a place where you don't want, right? But you have to make it. It's a decision that you have to make in your life. Do you want to see the world
pill,
as it?
blue pill.
Huh?
Red pill,
Yeah.
blue
Do you want to see the world as it is, or do you want to see it as you want it to be?
Right.
Because sometimes we're biased. There's a thing called confirmation bias. We see the world and we look at things that confirm whatever it is that we think the world is. And it's I think critical thinking gets you to all sorts of places that sometimes you don't want and sometimes you want, right?
Yeah.
And it's a decision that we all make. It's a decision that we all make, and that's personal. That's personal, right? If you're comfortable with that, that's fine. That you know that's fine, and you can live your way. You can live like that until the end, right? That's fine. But I think what you're proposing, there's another way of looking at the world.
Right. A gentle nudge
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
direction, a gentle, loving
Yeah,
nudge.
yeah.
You know.
To critical thinking.
Yes.
And you have to ask why. Why? Yeah, because even to my kids, I'm annoying because I'm always in a why. Like, because my kids are all medical students, right? Why is that? I don't know that. I'm not a doctor yet. You know what I mean? But I'm always asking why. I'm always the kid, even in front of my kid, because I'm always asking why. And I think that's an important skill set to have navigating through this world, to be critically thinking about things and always ask why and not stop. Right?
That's really fly.
Yeah.
You know, you just reminded me, like, you're
Yeah.
like Joe Rogan, man. Like, not even like just because
Joe
of,
Rogan.
Not just because like
bro,
you're
for
like
real.
doing this, but like literally the fact that you're
A few years ago, I would have taken that as a compliment, but I'm no longer a Joe Rogan fan. But yeah, thank you anyway, because he's easily the most successful podcaster in the world,
in
right?
that way, right?
Yeah.
In that sense.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
but anyway, like the reason why he's so successful too, because like he's like you, he's like really asking why, and he's genuinely curious,
Yeah.
and genuinely want to know what's the truth.
Yeah.
And then I can sense that in you, like
Yeah.
when you were talking about that, and like, yeah, I think you need a Jamie in your life too. Like, yo, Jamie, pull up, like, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
but I think with the curtains, don't do red. Like it's too.
No, but I think that's a decision that we make, right?
Yeah.
And some of us are set in our ways, especially when we get a little older, right? When we get a little older, like this has worked for us. Why change it? Why bother? We get a little lazy, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. Can I speak? On
Go
one
ahead,
thing
go
here
ahead,
real
man.
quick? Okay. So, I can relate to this a lot because at a certain point in my career, I felt like I had checked off pretty much everything I had put on my list of things I wanted to accomplish, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I could live a comfortable life.
And start getting bored.
I started getting bored on one part,
Yeah.
and then on the other side, I always had this story that stuck out to me in my head, right? Because it actually is a personal experience, right? So it was, if I have, let's say I'm blessed to have 3 sandwiches a day, or maybe I only have 2 sandwiches a day, and that's all I can eat, right? Then I'm gonna work hard to get 3 sandwiches, right? And I need 3 sandwiches. Maybe I get blessed to have 4 sandwiches, 5 sandwiches. So now maybe I've been working so hard I have 7 sandwiches.
Too many sandwiches.
Too many sandwiches, right? But then I also understand the fear of the future. Maybe I have to save the sandwich and this and that. While I look around and realize that this person only has 1 sandwich or this person only has 2, right? So I could sit back and just be like, I'm good, you know? Or I could make the choice of, hey, maybe I'll share. And I remember the feeling of only having 1 sandwich and like the people who were just so kind to share those things. And what I realized was I could never pay those people back, to be real. They're like at 5,000 sandwiches, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, you want a sandwich? They're like, I don't need, like, I can't give anything to them.
Okay.
The thing that they told me was pay it forward, those next people. And to me, that was really powerful. The fact that just because I'd experienced receiving something, and when I was younger, I had a lot of pride. I would never ask for anything. Like I would just, man, I'm gonna figure it out and this and that. And I kind of blocked my own blessings from that trait. And I learned to accept, blessings if there's no like, they have to, with the right intentions, they have to give, right? There's a good way to give and a bad way to give. But like, if I remember that experience, and so I'm like, man, I'm gonna continue this journey. So I always told myself, if I'm ever in a situation where I have a few extra sandwiches that I don't need, I'll make sure to take care of myself because an empty glass can't pour. But if I have a few other, I'm gonna give that, So that's where it kind of goes back to that, critical comfort versus kind of wanting to help. And it's a personal decision, right? We're all going to decide where that line is. Everyone's context is different. So like, regardless of how they move, I'm never going to judge anyone and that sort of thing. It's all love always. With that being said, in the circles that we're creating, we want to encourage this thing of like, hey, if you have a little bit of excess, like look around, and is there someone around you who might need a little bit of help and nudge? And sometimes it's not a sandwich, right? But I might have information. All I have to do is just kind of have a conversation. Like, I appreciate the conversations I have with Cookies because we're constantly going through different challenges in our careers, right? And then talking to him, he'll share what he learned. I'll share what I learned. And I think that's really what helped, one of the many aspects that allows us friendship to continue to kind of grow. And that's what I'm very thankful, And so, yeah, of course. And like, and I think that like people, when they really dig down deep enough, we may have limited physical resources, but when we share information, knowledge, habits, encouragement, that just takes a little bit of energy. And so we can keep giving that each day. And so that's really what allowed our circle to come from our neighborhood where we didn't have much to building blessings. So if you look at our crew, we have this phrase, 777 blessings.
Triple seven.
777. 777 for us represents alignment internally and externally. 777. We throw these up right here. So
what is that? What's the 777?
So if you throw this,
break
up,
it down to us, brother.
Yeah. So I kind of gave like a little preview of it earlier, but I truly believe when we're at our highest frequency, we've taken the time to align internally. How am I feeling? Where am I at? And then aligning externally, finding a way to communicate that authentically. And when we do that, we create amazing content, amazing music, amazing, because people can sense that alignment. So, and it's not easy to do. It takes constant tweaking, constant, where am I at? Where are the people at? It's a constant challenge of being present.
What do you mean when you say alignment?
Alignment, meaning like there's been times when I'm stressed, but I keep telling myself, I'm not stressed. And then over time, there's a misalignment between how I'm feeling and what I'm actually acknowledging versus acknowledging, man, I'm stressed.
That looks like presence, right?
Yeah.
Just be present, right?
Just be present, yeah, for sure. Like emotionally in tune with myself, because emotions do have a big impact on how we feel, and that's how I kind of stay centered. If I know if I'm going to go into a certain situation, my emotions might be here, it helps me manage myself, and move in a better way. And then external alignment, meaning that I might be trying to share an idea, but based off of a person's feedback, I might realize, it's not quite connecting. What are the words or the presentation I need to do to help it so this makes more sense to kind of connect with this person, And that's a whole challenge. It's sometimes like when I songwrite, oh man, I'm trying to say I'm sad, but no one feels that. Or I'm trying to say I'm happy, but no one feels like, you remember we talking about the anger songs, right?
Yeah.
He found that alignment that's like, I relate to that, you know? So.
Let me try to describe to you what I understand when you say alignment. Is it when who you are is what you are doing? Is that alignment?
Who you are
is what you're doing. Meaning to say, like, if you're an angry person and you're making angry songs, you're in alignment.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that part of the alignment thing? Like,
yes, and so that's this person is internally aligned, and now the external alignment
is aligned with what is inside him.
What they're saying. With that being said, I always like to challenge. Well, I like to challenge this in our circle, in our culture that we're creating, right? Because every friend group and every circle is like we're all contributors to culture. Express the anger at the same time in a way that's healthy, where people can work with that. So it's like I could express my anger by being very destructive, breaking things around me and stuff like that. People are going to
So
see I'm angry.
that's what you mean by alignment.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Because I'm going to give the anger in a way that a person can work off of that to know that, hey, we could actually do something good off of that. Like, anger is not necessarily a bad emotion. It's like every emotion serves a purpose.
It becomes bad if you break something.
Right. And now that's bad. The action from it can be bad.
Yeah.
With that being said, we should never have to apologize for how we feel.
Yeah.
Like, the feeling always comes from a real place, So giving ourselves a permission to think that way. And then secondly, the biggest challenge is figuring out a way to take that emotion and healthily communicate it where it's usable.
And
out.
understand that it's temporary. Like all things are temporary. So anger is temporary. You understand you're angry. You wanna kill somebody, but you know that anger will pass. You can't be angry even if you wanted to. Even if you really wanted to, you can't be angry for more than an hour. You know what I mean? I mean, unless you're looping it in your head, unless there's something wrong with you, then
That's an obsession.
you will inhabit that anger for a long time. But if you're present, if you're really observing your emotions, if you're really observing what's going on, you can't remain angry for a long time, even if you wanted to. You will have to reconstruct the thing that made you angry over and over and over again ad infinitum. Then you can be angry forever. But if you're present, nobody's angry forever.
Yeah. Man, dropping some bars right now. Man, that'd be a song right there. We just translate that into
So
some song.
the flip the script sounds like it's a movement that you're trying to start, right? Yeah. It is a movement, right?
You know what I'll say is like I don't even want to I wouldn't even say trying to start.
Okay.
I would just say
Yes, you've
we're
begun.
sharing. Yeah, we're just sharing information.
Okay.
And then whoever gravitates towards that gravitates towards that.
Okay.
And then as we start seeing that group of people, I understand like how crowd dynamics work. I mean that's our job, right? Well, I mean there's always more I can learn, but I understand aspects. And what it is just like it takes a lot of courage for the first few people to say, hey, like I believe in that. You know what I mean? With that being said, when that first group forms, then what happens is that next wave who wanted to kind of believe in that, but just wanted a little bit more confirmation that something's there, then that comes. You know what I mean? So I understand it's just going to be about consistency and trust. This is just about trust. Hey, we're saying a lot of like words and that sort of thing right now, but like, hey, are people actually going to put action behind this? And that sort of thing. That's the story we're telling, right? Okay, cool, we're consistent, people are going to gravitate towards it. And I don't want to put any numbers or expectations of like, oh, a lot of people are going to come or whatever. It's all about, again, the process, right? The process here, and our goal is just to connect people. So if people resonate with these ideas, having a safe space to do that. And I guess you could call it a movement, you know? I just sometimes when the word movement is put on it, it feels like pressure for people, to embody that. It's like, just come and hang out. We're just going to have fun. You know what I mean?
So when you say come and hang out, do you mean like a physical space? Is there an actual flip the script space? If not, I'm sure you have like a social media space, right? So if I want to hang out with like-minded people, or at least people who would like to be in that safe space that you're talking about, where do I go?
Right. So right now, so this is the part that I'm building up right now. So right now we have the Instagram Pizza Palace 777. We also have 4N Logic 777 official, the number 4N Logic 777, and we're also going to be, excuse me, we're also going to be making a Flip the Script Facebook page and Instagram page.
Okay.
So, because this first step right now was just to kind of let folks know, hey, like we're really doing this. Phase 2 now is we're like community building, right? So, if you want to tap in and that sort of thing, just give us a little bit of time. It's been, we're juggling a few projects and that sort of thing. We're getting our post-production team together. We're getting the right visual team together. There's like a lot of moving pieces that goes on behind the scene.
Yeah.
And once we feel confident we can really make good on this idea of community on an online space, we're going to create that. So give us maybe about like a 2 months, and then that'll exist.
Is there anything that we should look forward to? Because people listening to this broadcast and wondering, there has to be like an output, perhaps. Like, do you have like a video that you're going to be putting out? Is there like another show, another Flip the Script? Is there like a gathering, perhaps? I don't know, like something.
Yeah, for sure. So Number one, if you're just kind of curious, like what the heck is this person talking about?
Yeah,
And I
exactly,
want to
yeah.
see like
Yeah.
what the visuals look like.
Yeah.
You can go to my Instagram page right now, the one I shared earlier, Pizza Palace 777.
Pizza Palace 777. That's 3 sevens,
Yeah,
right?
you can go there. You can also go to Escape Artist 032.
Okay.
You know, on Instagram and also on Facebook.
Okay.
And you're gonna see the events that we're putting together.
Okay.
You can also go to Superior Empire LLC. These are all the partners we're working
Okay.
together to create this momentum.
Okay.
And that's where you'll see a lot of the updates there. So we are going to be releasing like an after concert video shortly. We're
Okay.
releasing all the amazing photos and photographies and the experience. So yeah, just tap in, just
Okay.
get a sense of the energy. Hey,
Okay.
if it's your cup of tea, come hang out. If
Yeah.
it's not, cool. Like, you know, that's
Yeah.
all good too.
Pizza Palace is not just a producer. You're actually also you have some music too as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned early in your life you were this musician. You were this rap artist. Do you have anything that we can also watch and maybe listen to on Spotify or maybe on Instagram, Facebook, or wherever?
Yeah, for sure. So like, so actually, I've been just to kind of help clarify. I kind of stayed away from the vocals for a period of time. I do have like kind of like a personal project where my vocals are on there. So instead of songwriting
Okay.
for artists, it'll be songwriting for myself and
Okay.
that sort of thing. So
Okay.
that's kind of later in the future.
Okay.
If you would like to see a lot of my music, you could check it out at Pizza Palace. You could also see a few links. We have a single coming out.
We meaning it's
Me-
like a group.
That's a great question.
Okay.
So we have Foreign Logic, who's an amazing artist from my neighborhood in Northside Atlanta. We're like from kids, we just kind of shared this similar journey.
Okay.
And then we have Lil Yella on the track. He's actually tied in with NBA YoungBoy, pretty big artist in the States. And so we have a collaborative track all together. It's actually a tribute to Cookies.
Really now?
Yeah.
Wow.
This song because it's a very Atlanta sounding song.
Okay.
And like he was like, hey, like we're gonna go on tour together and all this stuff. He didn't have to do that, right? Like we saw all these amazing shows and kind of just seeing his performances and what resonated with people and stuff. I took a few notes, you know, and then so this is kind of like a song that was created from that experience, you know. And Cookies, he's recovering and that sort of thing right now too. So it's kind of like just giving him that energy right now as he heals and that sort of thing. So Lucky Number 7 is coming soon. It should be released in about 1 month, you know, with a pretty cool music video.
So is this like an album, a single?
Just a single.
Single, yeah.
Just give people a little taste of like the Atlanta sound,
Okay.
and like what we're doing, and just kind of bringing cultures together. On the album, it's a lot of different cultures. So you have the Vietnamese community, you have the Black and Asian community, the Korean community. We have the Filipino influences in terms of the sound. It's like we're again stronger together, right? So,
You know, I'll be remiss if I don't ask you this. The United States just elected a new president, right? Donald Trump. And how do you feel about that? How does the Asian community feel about Donald Trump?
yeah, that's an interesting question. I think it really depends on.
We're in the Philippines, so it's okay to say whatever you want. You know, we're not in the United States.
Hey, shout out to YouTube. They'll be like, "Hey, I saw you on YouTube." I'll be like, "Hey."
So, but how do you feel about how does the give me a sense of how the Asian community feels like in the States?
I think it just depends on what neighborhood people are
What
in.
state?
Yeah.
Your neighborhood, New York and Atlanta. Yeah.
So I think in New York, I would say that a lot of the New York area, they're against, like, Trump is less popular in New York City for sure, and I think
He's a New Yorker, right?
Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a New Yorker.
yeah.
He was super. He was very popular at that time, but now since that he ran for president, and of course New York is a Democrat-run
Yeah.
state.
Correct,
And then
yeah.
they did a lot of like media bias and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then of course people already saw what
Yeah.
the media did, and then they just started.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that in this new
Yeah.
regime, if you want to call it that?
Yeah. I feel like the way I feel is like if a person is in a leadership position, these are my personal ideals. These are like I'm never gonna say anything is true. This is just what I believe, and that sort of thing. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. For me personally, I love and I cherish leaders who kind of empower, use words that kind of encourage people to come together. I mean, probably no surprise. That's like my whole my spiel, like as I'm speaking. Like that's what I really appreciate, and I appreciate mindfulness. That sort of thing. So, those are probably some traits that I kind of wish were kind of more present. With that being said, I also understand that he's playing this thing of like when he says certain things, it's a specific demographic he's tapping into to just kind of like he's. So I won't go too deep into it.
But my question is not about him. Like, how are the Asian community taking it? Like, are they looking at it as good, as bad?
Well,
generally speaking, in New York and in the Bronx. Unsa man, like,
I would say generally in New York.
are they scared? Are they happy? What?
It's unfavorable because I think what happened before was like he had kind of put out this narrative of like coronavirus, China virus, and that sort of thing. And that created a lot of Asian, that whole Asian hate issue. Again, this is that thing of like a narrative can create negative experiences for a community if we don't have our own mechanisms to protect. That's why I love what you're doing here too. What is this? This is a platform for us to for you, whatever. If you see certain narratives go out into the space, you can protect it. Like I think sometimes people sleep on the power of media and entertainment.
The power of conversation.
Right. So that's something I think a lot of people are concerned about because what if that kind of rhetoric comes up again? You know what I mean? Like, and that sort of thing. And like, what about the safety of, kind of our relatives and our loved ones while they're out and about? Because in New York, you're just walking, you're exposed to everything. You have to always kind of be a little bit alert. So, that's.
But that was a long time ago, though. This was like during the pandemic, right? 2020. And he called it a China virus and all of that stuff. So it's still there. That sort of anti-Asian sentiment.
There's definitely some that there. I mean, there's always going to be some things that exist there. I think really the biggest challenge is not the overt racism; it's the covert, subliminal racism. That's the stuff that I think is most dangerous. That needs to be addressed. So it's like, no one's like. I mean, the more south you go, they'll be like very overt, saying like I like chink or like crazy stuff. But like in other areas, it's more. Just very subliminal, like it's very micro, like saying it without saying it type, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, but we see what you're doing, like that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So, we could, like I said earlier, we could talk all day, but we have other commitments and all of that stuff. So what I want to do is just tell you guys, give you the chance to go and visit your website, your Facebook pages, your Instagram, your music, your Spotify, your YouTube, whatever. Just tell everybody where to go because I think we've stirred up the pot here and people are getting a little interested with what you're trying to do with Flip the Script. And I think we now have a deeper, more thorough understanding of the local and the global hip hop, rap, and R&B scene coming from both of your perspectives, right?
You really feel like the layers, like
so good at
from like that, and then even us, we didn't realize that that actually is Flip the Script.
Yeah.
But anyway, follow us on. Well, I got a website, so go just follow straight to my website, alifeofabuy.com.
A Life of a Buy. That's actually the name of his newest album, which I was lucky enough to watch the launching of at that place.
Thank you for pulling up, man.
What did you call that place again?
Nocturnal.
That was dope, bro. So will you have a concert soon? I mean, like
well, right now I'm still recovering because I got an autoimmune disease.
Okay.
Well, I hope it's gone, but like but now my face is still half paralyzed.
Okay.
So doctor says that I'll be recovered in a month or two, God willing. So hence March is my next gig.
Okay.
So I got the whole January and February.
In the meantime, you go to
abuy.com.
.com.
That's where I post my gigs, kid. So
And the music, of course, is all on Spotify, right?
absolutely, yeah.
So,
So Cookie with a dollar sign.
Okay.
Yeah, and just go. Yeah, it'll pull up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you? Pizza Palace. Tell me where they can consume your pizza.
Hey, let's go. If y'all are trying to consume some pizza, there's two places that I would recommend. Number one is Instagram. I got Pizza Palace 777. Just follow me. I follow back, so like follow me. I'll follow back. I promise.
Okay.
Number two is you're gonna see my Facebook is very under set up right now. So you have a rare opportunity right now to be one of the day ones together. So we're gonna be starting that. So it's on Facebook, Pizza Palace 777. And we're gonna begin to be more active on Facebook and that sort of thing too. So, if like you're appreciating the vibes and stuff like that, we'd love to just kind of build with y'all. So, tap in.
Are you leaving anytime soon? Are you staying here in these beautiful islands of the Philippines longer, or
I'm
are you
trying to stay here forever?
Yeah,
like
so-
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But are you? Is there like a airline ticket that you already booked for New York?
Yeah, unfortunately, because I had to do that to be able to fly in.
Okay.
So yeah.
What's the date for
so
you?
allegedly,
Allegedly, yeah.
allegedly, is
Allegedly, the ticket says.
bro, I'll be buying tickets and then I'll be like, I'm flying out on the 8th, and all of a sudden it's like 3 months later. You get what I'm saying? It's like vibes too strong.
Yeah.
February 8th.
February,
That's
okay.
tentatively.
Yeah. So I want to make sure, because some of our friends here would like to have like a conversation with you, have dinner, whiskey,
man.
or whatever,
that'd
like,
be amazing. Yeah, it'd be an
coffee
honor.
and talk about stuff, so we can, because it all starts with a good conversation, and I think we are in a position to be able to do something great here with Flip the Script and
I believe it.
and with TMC and with Cookies and all of this. I think there's a lot of room for collaboration.
I believe it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mga kaigalan, daghang salamat sa inyong pagpamina ug sa inyong pagtanaw nganhi sa atong programa. Top of the morning. I'm your host. My name is Jiggy Juice. You've been listening to Cookies, Cookie with a dollar
Hey,
sign,
let's go.
Let's go.
and of course Pizza Palace, live here on 105.1 TMC. Please, if you want to watch and review what we were doing, you can go to YouTube at Tops Media Center. You can go to our Facebook page and watch our conversation. It was pretty interesting, I promise you. Thank you so much, guys. And you guys take care.
Bye.
Bye.